Hearing Luo Xian say that, Yumo's face looked bad and said, "It's fine if I go, but it must be a week later. It can't be these few days." Hearing Luo Xian say that, Yumo's face looked bad and said, "It's fine if I go, but it must be a week later. It can't be these few days." Even if he were to expose himself, it would have to be after he made his pills and reached stage 4. Otherwise, he would rather not take the pills. But hearing this little girl's words, she was already suspecting him. Luo Xian smiled sweetly. "There's still some time before that Qianbei's birthday, so you don't need to worry." Looking at Luo Xian leaving, Yemo suspected even more that his little tricks had been seen through. Perhaps she knew long ago that the Qi recovery pills were on his hands. How were the little girls so smart these days? Luo Xian looked at Yemo go down and then murmured, "My Qi recovery pills were definitely taken by him. I didn't think he was this bad. He's a young man, but he's not only lazy and also calls up hookers. He even tricks my things. He's really bad. Big Martial sister is right. The people outside are too evil. I just don't know where he hid my Qi recovery pills. I'll let you meet the Huakei of Chunning Uni. Your fault for tricking my Qi recovery pills. When you offend Huakei, let's see what you are going to do. When you beg me for help, you can give my pills back." When Yemo came back, he noticed that people were already here changing the door and Luo Xian was watching from the side. She saw Yemo and nodded but didn't say anything. The door was changed soon, but Luo Xian gave the money. Yemo didn't have much money and she broke the door, so he didn't offer to pay the money. Looking at Yi Missouri close the door, Luo Xian felt very uncomfortable. She thought, this man was not only bad but also stingy. Even though she broke his door, if he offered to pay, she wouldn't let him pay. But he didn't even make a courtesy offer. But Luo Xian thought about it and still took out her peachwood sword and hung it on Yemo's door. Yemo could see it clearly, of course, and this time it was a peachwood sword indeed. It seemed this Luo Xian still had some conscience. Yemo saw Luo Xian get on the bed and sleep, so he took back his spirit sense. He knew she didn't sleep last night. Originally, Yemo planned to concoct some other pills for practice, but looking at the ingredients in his storage ring, they were very little. If he used them all, perhaps he wouldn't even be able to concoct the Qi-increasing pill. Yemo thought and decided in the end to try making the Qi-increasing pills first. He had Luo Xian's Qi recovery pills now. Although he didn't have 100% certainty to succeed, but it wouldn't be like yesterday when he had no chance at all. He was sure Luo Xian had fallen asleep before he cut a half of the blood coral and took out the Shinnon cauldron. He dumped the ingredients in and started to melt them into liquid like yesterday. 2 hours later, Yemo felt the depletion of his Qi. He immediately took out a Qi recovery pill and put it in his mouth. Although his Qi recovered some, it was still far from enough. Yemo sighed. This Qi recovery pill really wasn't good, but Luo Xian still treated it like treasure. Yemo tipped out 5 pills and dumped them all in his mouth. After eating 6, Yemo finally felt his Qi recovered by half. The withered Qi fire at the bottom of the cauldron grew fiery again. Another hour later, Yemo ate another 2 and the liquid had started to coagulate. Yemo kept all his mind inside the cauldron. He only had this chance. If he failed, he had no more Qi recovery pills left despite having another cauldron full of ingredients. If it was in the cultivation realm, he could set up a Qi gathering formation, but now, he had nothing. The liquid started to coagulate more and more. Although Yemo wanted to eat 2 more Qi recovery pills, he couldn't split his attention to do it. More and more sweat appeared on Yemo's body. His head even started to steam, but at the same time, the aroma from the cauldron grew more and more intense. Eventually, all the pill liquid formed into pills. Yemo yelled and a crisp sound came from the cauldron. A few faint red pills flew out from the cauldron, and Yemo quickly put them in jade containers. He actually made 9. Yemo was overjoyed. This far exceeded his expectations. Yemo packed away the cauldron and then realized that he was drenched in sweat. He felt a sense of weakness. Making this cauldron of pills made him lose a lot of power. He felt gratitude towards Luo Xian. If he didn't meet this girl, then even in his best state, he wouldn't be able to make them. Just when Emo stood up, his door was kicked open. Luo Xian looked at Emo, who was full of fatigue and couldn't even say a word. After a long while, only one word came out of her mouth. You! Emo looked at Luo Xian helplessly. He wanted to cry. This girl kicked his door twice. The first time, front door, the second time, bedroom door. Luckily he finished making the pills, otherwise he would be finished. Luo Xian, can you not kick my door next time, please? All my privacy is being leaked by you. Emo sighed. If it wasn't because Luo Xian supplied the qi recovery pills and he just finished concocting a cauldron of qi increasing pills, and he was in a good mood, perhaps he would have kicked this woman out already. Sorry, I didn't know what you were doing. Luckily I left a key to the front door and I called for you a long time and pressed the door bell, but you didn't open. I thought something happened to you, so... Luo Xian said awkwardly. Emo looked at Luo Xian helplessly. Am I not allowed to go out? I'm not your husband. You don't need to keep your eyes on me day and night. Please don't kick my door again. And don't keep saying sorry. Emo sighed. Thinking that the good thing was he already made the pills, he would move away in a few days. He was scared of her. Luo Xian couldn't say that she left a sign on his door, and she would know if he went out, or if someone or some ghost came in, she would also know. How could she bear to say such a thing? Although her intention was to see if ghosts had come into his room, but she was too embarrassed to say that. But soon, her eyes fell on a bottle beside Emo. It was obviously her qi recovery pills bottle. Emo soon realized Luo Xian's eyesight and could no longer say anything to criticize Luo Xian. This was catching the thief and the loot. Emo laughed awkwardly. Look, I already helped you find your qi recovery pills. You can take it back, but I think there's only 3 left. I think the rest were eaten by ants. These ants are too evil. Do they not know that these things are very precious? Then Emo stuffed the bottle back into Luo Xian's hands. Luo Xian took the bottle and opened it. Seeing that there was only 3 pills left, tears started to swell around her eyes again. Emo stood there in embarrassment. After a long while he said, Sorry, I took your qi recovery pills. It's because I'm also cultivating a martial arts, and these qi recovery pills have some little use to me. What I said before was a lie. Looking at Luo Xian's sad face, Emo really couldn't get himself to lie to this girl again, and he told the truth. Luo Xian wiped her eyes and held the jade bottle tight but didn't say anything. Emo sighed. Okay. When you go to that Qian Bei's family for birthday, I'll go help and I'll annoy that Huakei so he can look for trouble with me. Is that okay? Luo Xian took back the pills carefully, and her face recovered. She looked up at Emo. I've known that you took the pills. When you ate the pills and were fine, I thought about it and knew you must also be cultivating inner qi. I originally wanted you to give a few back to me, but because of me, you were almost killed by the ghosts, so I didn't say anything. Emo dazed, so this little girl already knew, but he was still putting up an act. This was really awkward. It seemed that if you thought of others as fools, then you'd be the real fool. Looking at Emo's awkward state, Luo Xian suddenly felt better, but she continued. I originally planned for that Huakei to make trouble for you, but since you gave me back my pills, I'll let you go. Come with me. I won't let that Huagai give you trouble in the future. Don't worry, just what? If you have something, just say it. Emo was shameless. Since the awkwardness was over, he recovered to normal immediately. Luo Xian looked at Emo and said hesitantly, Since you are also praising ancient martial arts, I need to tell you that the taboo for martial artists is distraction and lust. I see that you're not bad to the bones, so I need to remind you. It's up to you if you listen or not. Emo was shocked by Luo Xian's lightning words. He knew what he was in Luo Xian's eyes. That policewoman said he was a whorehound. Emo waved his hand. I know, you go back first. I will go in seclusive training these few days. Don't kick my door again. After I finish, I will come out and find you. Although he wanted to compensate 2 qi increasing pills to Luo Xian, he wouldn't do it before he ascended. PSCH. This was the first time Yemo saw Luo Xian laugh like that. He dazed. Luo Xian said speechlessly. Sai, I suggest you not to do that. You probably watch too much fighting dramas. Ha ha ha, don't forget to eat then. I'm going first. Looking at Luo Xian walking out, Yemo just realized that he was being laughed at. She must have thought he was acting as those grandmasters in those dramas, always going into solitary training. But her suspicion was right. After all, although there was solitary training in ancient martial arts, but those were people at the peak of black level. And they still had to eat food. Looking at Luo Xian walking out, Yemo just realized that he was being laughed at. She must have thought he was acting as those grandmasters in those dramas, always going into solitary training. But her suspicion was right. After all, although there was solitary training in ancient martial arts, but those were people at the peak of black level. And they still had to eat food. Yemo didn't explain. He had all the necessary conditions now and was ready to reach stage 4 Qi gathering. That night Yemo took a shower and cleaned his room. He used wind control to glide to the top of the building. He was really scared of Luo Xian. Perhaps if he didn't come out for 2 days, this girl was going to kick his door again. He didn't have that many doors to be kicked, and if some accidents occurred, his qi might backlash and that would be deadly. Yemo stood at the top of the building but didn't start cultivating immediately. He gazed into the lights of the distant. Ever since he came here, he had never properly thought of his future. When he first came here, he was thinking if he could cultivate to the point where he could travel space and go back to find Luoying, but now, he realized that this place wasn't even suited for cultivation. He could only keep his memories of Luoying in his heart. But he really didn't want to live out an ordinary life like this. Luckily, he found the silver heart grass. That gave him hope and the motivation to cultivate. In the following days, he found that although this place wasn't suitable for cultivation, there were many spiritual things. As long as he could find enough of them, perhaps he could still cultivate to almighty state. But these spiritual things not only required luck but also money and power. He formed Luoyu. He wanted to use it to gather wealth and collect all the spiritual items in the world. During this time, he met Qingxue. She was an emotional girl. When she went to search for him at the Shenongjia, he realized that he had already fell in love with this girl. Without him noticing, Qingxue had become equally important as Luoying in his heart. If he couldn't go back to Luoyu to find Luoying, he was willing to live out a peaceful life with Qingxue like this. In fact, Yemo also had another reason to establish Luoyu. He always hoped that when Luoying recovered her memories, she would come look for him due to this name. Yemo sighed and murmured, Su, wait for me. I'm going to reach stage 4 Qi gathering. I can fly on the flying sword now. Even if I have to look everywhere, I will find you. I said that I won't let you suffer your entire life again, won't let you be harassed. Wait for me. And Qingxue, I want to go see you. Yemo collected his thoughts and sat down. He took out a qi increasing pill and dumped it in his mouth. Then, he started to control his qi to do meridian cycles. Yemo, who had been accustomed to the scarcity of spirit qi, was suddenly not used to the intense medicinal powers of the qi increasing pill. Strong spirit qi started to charge at the unopened barrier in Yemo again and again. Even though Yemo was the peak of stage 3 qi gathering, it wasn't easy to reach stage 4 at such an environment. Without qi increasing pill, perhaps he would never be able to reach stage 4. After some time, when the effects of the pill was about to dissipate, Yemo felt that he was still a bit off from breaking that barrier. He didn't even think before eating another 3 pills immediately. The pills melted in his mouth, turning into a large sum of spirit qi and started to charge at Yemo's meridians. Yemo just felt that pulsating pain in his meridians. He knew this was a precursor for breakthrough. He clenched his teeth and didn't stop for a moment at trying to break through. Rumble. Yemo felt there was a loud bang in his body, and the blocked meridians suddenly opened up. Some black impurities seeped from the surface of his body. Large spirit qi rushed into his dantian. A spirit chi more than twice as strong as before surged out, making his meridians beat with more power. Emo tried using his spirit chi. It was pompous. He had experienced stage 4 chi gathering before but didn't have such power before. Was it stronger to break through at places with scarce spirit chi? Although he didn't know if this conjecture was correct, Emo was sure that his current stage 4 was much stronger than his previous stage 4 in his past life. He knew there was a milestone between chi gathering primary stage and middle stage, but the difference in power exceeded Emo's expectation. There were 9 levels in chi gathering. Level 1 to 3 was primary stage, 4 to 6 was middle stage, and 7 to 9 was tertiary stage. If chi increased at this rate, wouldn't his chi multiply many times again at level 7? Emo rejoiced. He wanted to stand up and release his power, but he knew that his state wasn't stabilized yet. He must not slack. It would be tragic if he fell back to chi gathering level 3 due to his cockiness. Emo didn't dare to think much and started to control his chi to go in meridian cycles to stabilize his state. Luo Xian stood in front of Emo's door walking back and forth. She hadn't seen Emo for 2 days and this made her worry again. Although she hung the peachwood sword on his door, who knew if the ghost could come in? After hesitating for a long time, she finally couldn't resist the worry in her heart, and opened the doors again, but what made her disappointed was that the door was still broken and the other 2 doors weren't even closed. Was he harmed already? Luo Xian left Emo's room and sighed. She guessed that it was highly likely her neighbor was harmed. Although this guy was quite annoying, but after living with him for a week, she felt Emo wasn't that bad. Although he liked sucking up to people, but these people were everywhere. She should have persuaded him to leave early, but she was too careless. Plus, he lived next door. Although it wasn't much use, but the more people the better. This building was too silent. Thinking about this, Luo Xian looked at the 9th floor as frost flashed across her eyes. I'll go end you tonight, otherwise you'd be harming others if you stayed here. She had made up her mind to end that ghost. Although it was strong, she had 3 chi returning pills now. The moon was high in the sky and Emo suddenly stood up. His state was completely consolidated. At this moment, he felt that even if there was an Earth-level master in front of him, he would be a joke. Emo had a sudden urge. He took of his dirty clothes and used a few clear water spells on him. Then, his body was clean like a fetus. Emo took out a clean set of clothes from his ring and put it on his body before giving out a long sigh. Then, he took out his flying sword and under the control his chi gathering middle stage chi, the sword transformed into a huge sword that was a few meters long and 1 meter wide. Emo stood on the sword and with a long howl, the sword shot up into the sky and clouds. That excitement and thrill filled Emo's chest. He felt relieved as though he escaped a confinement. Emo darted in and out of the clouds on his sword. The wind blew his hair and clothes, but he didn't want to raise up a barrier. He liked this feeling. It was a feeling of longing and great excitement. Emo howled and the sound echoed his path in the sky. Luo Xian, who just got to the 9th floor, suddenly stopped. Did she hear Emo's howl? Was it wrong? No, it wasn't. It was at the top of the building. In desperation, Luo Xian actually forgot to search for the ghost and quickly climbed up to the 10th floor. Then 11th and 12th. Eventually, she got to the top and stood at the top. She felt relaxed as she looked at the lights in the distance. Right, I came here to find Emo. Luo Xian remembered her purpose and looked around. The roof was quiet and empty, making her feel free but lonely. Suddenly, she had the impulse making her want to fly and soar into the sky. But then she sighed. She knew this was impossible. Even her master couldn't fly. Flying, that was just a legend. Emo's clothes? Luo Xian turned around and saw a set of clothes. The clothes were dirty. It was obviously the set Emo was wearing before. So the ghost upstairs harmed him indeed. Now, the clothes confirmed her suspicion. Luo Xian actually felt a faint sense of sadness and lost. Although she wasn't on good terms with Emo, in this dead apartment block, a neighbor was much better than solitude. So the ghost upstairs harmed him indeed. Now, the clothes confirmed her suspicion. Luo Xian actually felt a faint sense of sadness and lost. Although she wasn't on good terms with Emo, in this dead apartment block, a neighbor was much better than solitude. But soon, her eyes went cold and was no longer in the mood to stay at the top of the building. She picked up her long sword and charged down without hesitation. She went from the 12th to the 9th floor but didn't find anything at all. She felt very strange. Did the thing leave already? If she really saw the ghost, Luo Xian wouldn't be scared. She didn't believe that she would lose to a ghost. But she looked around and still didn't find anything. She actually started to feel scared. The things that were unseen were the scariest. Luo Xian no longer dared to stay on the 9th floor and wanted to go down immediately, the faster the better. But when she just reached the elevator of the 9th floor, she found that the elevator came up and opened by itself. There was nothing inside the elevator. The doors opened for a bit, then closed and went up by itself. Then, it stopped at the 10th floor for a moment before going up to the 11th floor. Luo Xian could no longer calm down anymore. She felt goosebumps on her head. She just came down and didn't find anything, but now, this elevator was going upstairs by itself. She could no longer hold back the terror in her heart. There was only her living here above level 3, but she couldn't even see anything. Her eyes were supposed to see a lot of things. Originally, there was Mo-ing next door, but he was definitely harmed. Luo Xian resisted the terror in her heart, and climbed down from the balcony. She wanted to go downstairs and not stay here for tonight. That elevator was too scary. At this moment, she realized that Mo-ing could embolden her even without doing anything. But now, he had gone. When Luo Xian came down, she found that the balcony belonged to Mo-ing. Ah! Luo Xian screamed at Mo, who was not far away. He appeared too suddenly. Luo Xian felt her skin had already started getting more goosebumps. Wasn't he dead? How did he appear here? You said you won't follow me? I didn't kill you. You must not come here, please. Luo Xian had already forgotten she was someone who could hunt ghosts. She actually started to feel scared towards Mo. Mo looked at her strangely. What are you on about? Wasn't your courage usually pretty great? And you went up to the 9th floor to hunt ghosts. Why do you have that expression? This room is where I live. You came to my place and you're telling me not to come over. You're really strange. Did I not tell you I was going into solitary training? Why did you come here? You didn't die? Luo Xian came back to her sense and still looked at Mo unsurely. You're dead, Mo said unhappily. He just reached Qi gathering middle stage and had a ride in the sky. But as soon as he came back, this girl said he was dead. Luo Xian suddenly had an overjoyed expression on her face. She grabbed Mo's hands. You didn't die. You really didn't die. Great. I thought you died. Your hands are still warm. You didn't die, whimpers. As she spoke, Luo Xian actually started crying and she almost went into his arms. Mo frowned. Was this girl okay? Why was she so scared? He knew her guts, and that night she fought with the ghost. Although she was pushed downstairs, her qigong still saved her life and she was a yellow-level middle-stage cultivator. What was going on? What happened? Mo didn't push Luo Xian away, he didn't know what happened to her. Don't move. Mo saw Luo Xian's eyes were strange. He grabbed Luo Xian's wrist. Indeed, in her body there was some dark, unclean qi. She was already a yellow-level warrior, and could see things others could not. How could such evil qi attach to her body? Mo used his qi to force out that dark qi and burn it. At this moment, Luo Xian realized that she had ran into Mo's arms. She quickly moved out and said, What was I doing just then? And what happened to you? I saw your clothes at the top of the building? You went upstairs? Mo thought that there were no ghosts upstairs now, and even if there were, she shouldn't be scared like this. Plus, since there were no ghosts here, how was she intruded by evil qi? I dumped my clothes there, after I finished solitary training. I went to the roof and stood for a while. Because I was full of sweat, I took off my clothes there. Yemo said. Luo Xian had calmed down by now and breathed before saying, "So that's what happened. I was so scared. I thought something happened to you, so I went upstairs by myself wanting to kill the ghost to get revenge for you. But when I got to the 12th floor there was nothing. And then I saw your clothes and I got angrier, so I went down again, but I didn't find anything." Yemo asked strangely. "Since you didn't find anything, why were you so scared?" He didn't ask her why evil chi got inside her body? But he felt quite grateful of Luo Xian. After all, she went to get revenge for him. Luo Xian still had some aftershock fear. "I don't know. I thought I wouldn't be afraid of ghosts, but at the 9th floor, I saw the elevator go up and open up by itself. There was nothing inside. I didn't see anything, but then the elevator continued up to the 10th floor. Then I became scared and jumped down immediately. I was prepared to leave, but I saw you." Yemo frowned and murmured to himself. "So the elevator moving has nothing to do with that woman. What was going on?" "With what woman?" Luo Xian asked. Yemo waved his hand. "Nothing important, but luckily you came down early. If you came down a little later, perhaps you wouldn't be able to come down. Amazing, even I didn't notice this. Emoing, tell me. You live here and you're not afraid of ghosts. And you said even you didn't notice. Are you a disciple of the Mao Mountain?" At this moment, Luo Xian also knew that Yemo was no ordinary person. She was almost harmed living here, but a normal person could live here so freely? That wasn't normal. Yemo nodded seriously. "I'm an immortal. Ghosts are insects in my eyes. Normal ghosts who see a master like me ran as far as they can." Psht! Luo Xian heard Yemo's bullshit and felt much better. After saying that, Yemo also felt a little embarrassed. That night when he went up to kill the ghost, the elevator also moved up by itself, but he didn't notice anything. It was obviously bullshit saying that ghosts ran as far as they could when they saw him. "Okay, you go back to sleep. I'll go up and have a look," Yemo said. He really didn't believe something could hide right under his nose. "Don't." Although the bleak chi inside Luo Xian's body had been burnt, the lesson she learned tonight was too big. It allowed her to understand that although she was a yellow-level martial artist, there were a lot of things she couldn't control. She still thought that although Yemo had some small capabilities, he was still far from her. Even she almost couldn't come down. If Yemo went, he would be dead for sure. Yemo looked helplessly at this little girl who, a few days ago, still had great aspirations in catching ghosts and said, "Okay, then I'll go up in a few days. But since you're so scared, why are you still staying here? Do you not know that this is a haunted building?" Luo Xian shook her head. "I know. That's why I moved over. I lived at the uni before, but it affected my cultivation and a lot of people kept annoying me. So now I live at the haunted building. No one had come to annoy me these days. I feel so much better. And I'm not scared of ghosts. Ghosts are scared of me." Yemo looked at Luo Xian in shock. "You sure you're not afraid of ghosts?" Luo Xian hesitated for a moment. "Most of the times I'm not scared, but the one I met tonight was too powerful. I couldn't even see it, so... So you were scared, right?" Yemo said. Luo Xian nodded unexpectedly. "Yes." Then Luo Xian looked at Yemo's room and said embarrassingly, "Emoing, your room door is broken. How about you come over to mine? I still have an empty room." Yemo pointed at his 2 empty rooms. "I also have empty rooms too. Why do I need to live at your place?" Because... Luo Xian stumbled for a long time but still couldn't say it. Yemo was in a good mood. He smiled and said, "Because you're scared of ghosts, right? Never mind. On account of your chi recovery pills letting me reach great heaven state, I'll help you once. But I'm telling you, I'm leaving here in at most a week, so you'll be living by yourself still." "You're bluffing again, great heaven." Luo Xian rolled her eyes. She wouldn't believe Yemo's words, but she continued, "Perhaps next week after going to that Qianbei's house to look at the books, I can leave too." Yemo didn't know if great heaven level masters could fly, but he felt that now he ascended to level 4, he was so much stronger than before. He wouldn't even care about great heaven state masters. Plus, Zhang Zhihui said there was rarely any great heaven-level masters. What would he be afraid of? Right, since you're a disciple of Mao Mountain, you shouldn't be afraid of ghosts. There was a loud bang in your apartment a few days ago, and why were you injured? Luo Xian remembered what happened a few days ago and asked. Yemo smiled. When did I say I'm a disciple of Mao Mountain? I'm a pill master. Last time I borrowed your qi recovery pills to concoct a few pills. After eating those pills, you will ascend immediately. After you rest up, I'll give you one to eat and you'll know. Luo Xian looked at Yemo strangely for a long time before saying, You're really capable, aren't you? Not only are you great heaven level, but you're also a pill master. But never mind about the pills, I suggest you go find a job tomorrow. Otherwise, you daydream too much staying home all day long. Yemo seemed to ask casually. Since you're an ancient martial artist, are you from the hidden sects? Yemo seemed to ask casually. Since you're an ancient martial artist, are you from the hidden sects? Yeah. Luo Xian seemed not to notice Yemo's question. Then do you know about Tai? Yemo asked casually. Luo Xian nodded. Of course. Tai is one of the 3 big sects, how can I not know? Plus, wait, how do you know about Tai? Who are you? Luo Xian suddenly woke up and looked at Yemo full of vigilance. Yemo was excited upon hearing that Luo Xian knew about Tai and he was able to get it out of her so easily. Although he could also find out from Zhang Zhihui. Now since Luo Xian asked, he replied, I'm from the hidden sects, of course I know about Tai. Don't you know I'm cultivating ancient martial arts? I'm just asking if you're from the hidden sections. Where is your sect? Luo Xian wasn't relaxed because of Yemo's words at all and was more serious instead. Of course it's at Wuliang Mountain. Why are you even asking this? Yemo only knew about hidden sects in Wuliang Mountain, nowhere else. Luo Xian suddenly pulled out the sword from her waist and looked vigilantly at Yemo and said, You lied to me. You're not from the hidden sects, and you don't know about the Tai. Yemo looked at her sword strangely and thought, they were talking nicely just then, and why did she suddenly become so aggressive? He didn't know where Luo Xian saw through. He didn't say anything wrong. He even went to the hidden sect at Wuliang Mountain. Why did this girl say he was lying? Suddenly, Yemo was struck by a thought. He remembered what the Shao Daoist said. The hidden sects were divided into inner and outer hidden sects and semi-hidden sections. However, Xian Daoist said the inner hidden sects were just a legend and they never came into the world. Was this Luo Xian from the inner hidden sects? If that was the case, then Tai was also an inner hidden sect. If his hypothesis was right, then he wouldn't be able to know about Tai even from Zhang Zhihui. I don't know how you know about the hidden sects, but I can tell you that no one in the hidden sects know about Tai. We all have a rule in the hidden sects that if someone who isn't from the hidden sects knows about it, they must be killed. So I will kill you. Then, Luo Xian raised her sword and was even a little shaky. Yemo reached out his hand. He knew about Luo Xian's character. It was just a subconscious movement. He didn't feel any killing intent from her. He then said, It's up to you if you want to kill me, but since you want to repay debt with feud, then I have nothing to say. But are you going to kill outer hidden sect people if they knew you are from the inner hidden sect? Luo Xian's hands shook more. You know about us inner hidden sect people indeed. How do you know? We never come into the world. Every 50 years, our people would come out once, but we never cause any trouble. How did you know? That elevator went up again. Yemo suddenly said something completely irrelevant. Luo Xian's hands shook again and her sword slunk. She didn't really want to kill Yemo. It was just a subconscious action. If you talk about any inner hidden sect things, you will be killed and you will also bring this upon your family. I don't know how you know about Tai, but you must not mention it again. Don't even mention inner hidden sections. Luo Xian's tone was shaky. Yemo looked at Luo Xian with surprise. If I mention it, then at most I die. What are you scared of? Luo Xian shook her head helplessly. If I know that you mentioned such things but I didn't kill you, then I will be killed by them. And this may even affect my sect. So domineering? Yemo frowned. This was more dictator than Hitler. Can we not talk about this? And don't mention it in the future. Luo Xian looked weakly at Yemo. She really couldn't do it, killing Yemo. And she must not let her martial sister know about this nor Yulin martial brother. Yemo originally wanted to ask her how long she had been out and where the entrance to the hidden sect was, but he couldn't say it because he knew that Luo Xian wouldn't tell. It was probably better that he followed her when she went back. With his current power, it was easy for him even to follow an Earth-level master. Thinking about this, Yemo could only say, "Okay, I won't ask you or say anything you. Never mind, I'll go to your side with you. On account of you not killing me." Going back to her house, Luo Xian was in a low mood and went to sleep immediately. Yemo took out the only supplementary ingredients he had left and made a cauldron of lotus life seed and some more face-preserving pill. After reaching stage 4, his success rate increased greatly. After the pills were ready, Yemo packed and saw it was still 3 a.m. in the morning. He was prepared to go upstairs and see what the thing that made the elevator move was. He went up the elevator and scanned again but still didn't find anything. "Why don't you sleep?" As soon as Yemo walked to the balcony, Luo Xian came out and asked. Yemo studied Luo Xian. She wore her clothes neatly. He asked strangely, "Are you not going to sleep as well? Where are you going tonight?" "I slept for a while and was worried, so I got up." Luo Xian hesitated and said, "I already said I won't say anything. What else are you still worried about? But I might leave tomorrow. I can't stay here anymore." "When are you preparing to leave?" Yemo was going to get revenge with Earth Fiend first. They dared to mess with him. He wouldn't let them go like this. "It's not that, never mind. It's not related to you," Luo Xian said despondently. Yemo didn't want to care about this girl's business and took out a chi-increasing pill and gave it to Luo Xian and said, "Eat this pill. I can guarantee that your power will increase by 1 stage. My pills are very precious. This one is worth 8 of your chi recovery pills. I only used 8 of your pills." Luo Xian took the pill and smiled. "Okay, since you say it's worth it, then it is. It was my fault before. Anyway, I won't eat it now. I'll eat it when I get back." Yemo shook his head and said, "No, you must eat it now. First, it's too precious. Secondly, I'm a pill maker, and if something is wrong after you eat it, I can help." Luo Xian frowned and looked at the faint red pill and hesitated. "You're not trying to do something to me, are you?" Yemo said speechlessly. "Okay, since you think I'm harming you and you don't want me to pay you back for your pills, then give the pill back to me. I'm going. Don't be so stingy. I'll eat it." Seeing Yemo reach his hand over, Luo Xian dumped the pill into her mouth. She originally wanted to taste what it tasted like, but it melted immediately. A burning sensation went across her meridians, making her feel shaky. She looked at Yemo uncertainly. Was he trying to harm me? Although she knew that Yemo had a lot of flaws, but her perceptions of people were accurate. She never saw any ill will from Yemo's eyes. What was this? "Hurry up and sit down and make this power yours. This is your only chance." Yemo's voice sounded just in time. In the desperation of the moment, Luo Xian did what Yemo told her, and she suddenly felt that hot power turned into inner chi while opening up her meridians. Was this pill really that precious? Luo Xian didn't dare to keep thinking and focused all her attention on controlling this power. Although 4 of chi-increasing pills were needed to make Yemo reach level 4, 1 was enough for a yellow-level girl like Luo Xian. Luo Xian just felt her power surged up rapidly. Soon she reached from yellow-level middle stage to yellow-level tertiary stage, but the power of the pill was still potent. If she didn't continue digesting this power, she felt that she was going to burn. After reaching yellow-level tertiary stage, her power surged again, reaching the peak of ladder stage, black-level primary stage, black-level primary stage peak, before finally calming down and finished being digested by Luo Xian. It was just one pill, but it could make Luo Xian reach black level primary stage peak. Luo Xian didn't even dare to believe it, but neither did Emo expect it to be so useful. Although the potency of the pill was strong, it was also related to Luo Xian's talent. Luo Xian resisted the excitement in her heart and started to focus her mind and stabilize her power. When the day was just bright, she finally opened her eyes and checked her power. It had fully stabilized at black level primary stage peak. She was just one step away from middle stage. You really are a pill master? How can you make such a precious pill? Such pills don't exist even at our place. Luo Xian stood up in shock. Emo smiled. I think you should go take a shower first. Emo smiled. I think you should go take a shower first. Luo Xian exclaimed and just realized that her body was covered in dirt and grime. She quickly rushed into her room. An hour later, Luo Xian walked out in white robes with more intense spiritual beauty. She looked fresher and out of this world. She even felt more mature than before. If an ordinary person stood next to Luo Xian, she would feel embarrassed. Emo was no normal person, of course. He looked at Luo Xian with spiritual and ethereal temperament and said, Your cultivation method is not bad. You actually have some immortal essence to you. It's much better than normal cultivation methods. At this moment, Luo Xian knew that Emo was not an ordinary person at all. She walked in front of Emo and bowed. Emo brother, thank you. I know that you're no ordinary person. Please forgive my insolence. My cultivation method is a top one indeed, but due to sect laws, I can't tell you. Sorry, I misunderstood you before. Please forgive me. If someone told Luo Xian now that someone like Emo would find hookers on the streets, she would be the first to not believe it. Emo smiled. Don't worry about the misunderstandings. To you, it doesn't even matter what sort of person I am. Although your cultivation method is not bad, it's nothing in my eyes. At most, you have this temperament of immortality to you when you are at the later stages of cultivation, but that's about it. One, you can't get long life. Second, you can't ascend into a higher realm. Such cultivation method, you think I would be interested? Emo brother? Luo Xian looked at Emoing in surprise. Although she knew Emoing was a master, Luo Xian was still shocked by his words. Her cultivation method was very precious even in the entire small dimension. So many people dreamed of getting it. Emo laughed with pride. There's no point in talking about these to you. If you are willing to tell me where you guys are or tell me how to get in, I will also give you a face-preserving pill and lotus life seed. Do you know what face-preserving pill is? If you eat it, your face will never age. Lotus life pill can recover any injuries. How about it? This deal is quite a good trade. Luo Xian's face changed and immediately shook her head. I don't want your pills. You must not try to get into the small world. Even if you have greater heaven state power, you will still be killed. Suddenly, Luo Xian picked up her phone and said worriedly, My martial sister is calling for me. I'm going. Remember, broken 7 stars, heaven control position. Don't go there. Then, Luo Xian ran out of the house with her bag like a thief. Emo laughed to himself. This Luo Xian was really interesting, telling him in such way. She told him in the end. Broken 7 stars, heaven control position. Was that the entrance to the small world? If that was the case, then he really wouldn't be able to find it if no one told him unless his spirit sense could cover an entire country, or the planet. But spirit sense covering planet, even in the cultivation realm, few people could do this, much less him. Emo was planning to give these 2 pills to Luo Xian, but since she already left, then never mind. He had decided to annihilate the thing upstairs and then leave Chunin tomorrow. Emo stood at the side of the elevator and pressed the button. The elevator came up from level 1 slowly, but before it reached level 8, Luo Xian ran back quickly. You're not thinking of going upstairs, are you? Luo Xian looked at Emo, who stood at the door of the elevator, and asked in surprise. Emo nodded. I'm going upstairs. Didn't your martial sister call for you? Why did you come back? At this moment, the elevator stopped at level 8. Luo Xian quickly grabbed Yimo's arms and said, "That thing is really strong. Even I can't see it. You shouldn't go up. My martial sister called me to meet up with her at night. Can you go with me to that Qianbei's place in the day?" "Okay, but I'm leaving tomorrow." "Are you not scared to live here by yourself?" Yimo asked. Luo Xian shook her head. "I might leave tonight. My martial sister called me, meaning something must have happened. In that case, I'll just give you these 2 pills. Although your Qi recovery pill isn't worth much, but without it, I can't make these pills, so I'm really grateful to you." Yemo was telling the truth. He not only thanked for the pills but thanked more for Luo Xian risking her life to tell him the entrance to the hidden sections. If she was caught out, she would be dead. "These are too precious. I can't take them." Although Luo Xian really wanted that face-preserving pill, she didn't dare to carry something so precious on her. Yemo still stuffed the 2 pills to her. He could see the aspiration in Luo Xian's eyes. As for magic artifact, Yemo didn't give any to her. This was because Yemo believed that 3 pills were enough to pay Luo Xian back. "Luo Xian, you're not going to make him go with you, right?" Yemo and Luo Xian just walked out of the door and was stopped by a girl. Yemo knew this girl. It was the girl who came to get Luo Xian last time when he drank soy milk. "Yeah, thank you, Ziyun. This makes your mission a lot easier," Luo Xian said. Ziyun looked strangely at Yemo and then whispered by Luo Xian's ear, "Luo Xian, I feel like you changed a lot today, and you're a lot prettier. There's also a sense I can't describe about you. Don't tell me you went in bed with him? Is he your boyfriend? But I don't feel he's very reliable." Luo Xian's face was fully red and slapped Ziyun's hand and said, "Ziyun, what are you on about? We're just neighbors. It's not as dirty as you think." "Are you sure he wasn't with you last night?" Ziyun said suspiciously. Luo Xian opened her mouth but couldn't say anything. Yemo was indeed living at her apartment last night. Seeing Luo Xian's expression, Ziyun had the expression of, "I knew so." But she didn't continue talking to Luo Xian and instead walked in front of Yemo and said, "I know you're not very reliable. I don't know what luck you got to make Luo Xian follow you, but Luo Xian is a really good girl. She's very innocent. Since you did it, you need to be responsible." Luo Xian quickly pulled Ziyun to the side. "Stop saying that. We're going. Ziyun, goodbye." In her 2 years at Chenin Uni, Ziyun was the closest friend she had. Tonight she might be leaving with her martial sister, and this made her feel guilty to Ziyun. "Wait for a bit." Ziyun grabbed Luo Xian and said, "Your big sister has good eyes. You can ask her. When I went close to him, he smelled really nice, very refreshing. He probably isn't someone who sleeps around. I wish you happiness, Luo Xian." Although Yemo didn't want to hear these things, but his hearing was so strong that he couldn't avoid it. He just smiled faintly and didn't put it to heart. "Emo brother, let's go." Ziyun was talking rubbish. "Don't worry about it." Luo Xian quickly pulled Yemo onto a taxi and left. In Chunhua family, although it wasn't a big family in China, it was very famous in Chenin. This was because all the people in the Hua family had long life. Now, the Huaku of the Hua family was 100 years old, and it said that his body was still very healthy. Another point was that the Hua family had this Hua Chemical Industries company, which was said to be in the top 500 in the world. So, although the Hua family didn't have anyone special political-wise, it was still the ruling family in Chenin. When Yemo saw Huaku, he almost couldn't believe that Huaku was 100 years old. Because he only looked like he was in his 60s. According to this Huaku could live for at least 20 years. And he was a black-level peak stage master. Yemo really didn't expect him to be an ancient martial arts cultivator. He didn't know how Luo Xian knew about Huaku, but he thought about the Zhang Zhihui of the Zhang family and sighed. The masters were all hidden among the civilians. If he didn't see it with his own eyes, he definitely wouldn't believe in that a normal city like Chenin, there would be such a master. "Grandpa Hua, I originally wanted to wait for your birthday to come with Master Zhu, but I'm going to leave Chenin in these few days, so I come here to greet you." This painting is for your grandpa. I wish that you live a long life. Luo Xian then took out an ancient painting and gave it to Huike. Yemo praised. He didn't expect Luo Xian to have such an obedient and sweet side. He never saw it in her. But from her tone, Yemo could tell that she knew about Huike through a teacher named Zhu. Of course, Huike laughed and took the painting. Not bad, not bad. Such an intelligent and pretty girl, and you're still so kind. Old Zhu said you wanted to see my collection. That's fine. Come, I'll take you to the library. After you see the books, then we can have a chat. Who is this? Huike said and looked at Yemo. Luo Xian quickly explained with a blushing face. Oh, Grandpa Hua, this is Emoing, my boyfriend. He came with me. Your boyfriend, sigh. Huike, this boy doesn't have good fortune. Huike casually scanned Yemo and a sliver of astuteness flashed across his eyes. Originally, Yemo was planning to give a gift, but upon seeing this glance, he immediately gave up the thought. This old thing actually had some killing intent in his eyes the first time he saw him. Yemo sneered. He finally understood why Luo Xian wanted him to come and even said that he was her boyfriend. It was not just Huike that had intentions for her, even Huike, this old fart, wanted her. Otherwise, why did he have such killing intent when Luo Xian introduced him? Yemo sneered. He finally understood why Luo Xian wanted him to come and even said that he was her boyfriend. It was not just Huike that had intentions for her, even Huike, this old fart, wanted her. Otherwise, why did he have such killing intent when Luo Xian introduced him? Seeing that Yemo just smiled plainly and didn't show any customs, Luo Xian quickly pulled Yemo behind and said, Grandpa Hua, Emoing doesn't really like to talk. Please don't mind him. Haha, it's fine. Young people, it's natural to be a bit shy. Come, I'll take you to the library. Huike brought the two to the library and said, Look for a while first, then we can eat lunch later. Yemo's spirit sense followed Huike and found that after he left the library, his face sunk into bleakness and ordered, Notify K to come back immediately. And although Yemo didn't hear the words afterwards, he knew that this old guy wasn't as good to talk to as he seemed. What are you looking at? I hope you don't mind me saying that you are my boyfriend. You don't know how annoying that Huike is. And his grandpa always likes to pull me together with him. If possible, I really don't want to come, Luo Xian said apologetically. Her face was a bit blushed. Yemo smiled. Of course I wouldn't mind. You need to be faster at finding your book. That Huike would be coming soon. How long do you think you will need? This quick? I heard Ziyun say that Huike was going out today. He shouldn't be back so quick. I think it's going to take me a day. Do you see how many books are here? Luo Xian said helplessly. The books here were kept rather well. But because they had been there for so long, they had some ancient smells. You need that long? Yemo frowned. After a while he said, What are you looking for? I'll help you look for it. Luo Xian didn't hide anything and immediately replied, My master wants me to find a copy of Ni Luo's Sutra. I've been searching for it in the uni library for a year or so, but I still hadn't found it. You don't need to look for it. I will help you. Then Yemo scanned his spirit sense on these books. Luo Xian looked at Yemo in surprise and asked, There are so many books here. How are you going to find it? How about we look for it together? Yemo waved his hand. Don't move. I'm calculating where this book would be. Luo Xian looked at Yemo with even more uncertainty. Was he a prophet or something? Even a prophet wouldn't be able to predict where the Ni Luo's Sutra would be in this place. This Emoing was too magical. Not only a pill master and Mao Mountain disciple, was he also a prophet? Although she was dubious about Yemo's words, Luo Xian still didn't interrupt Yemo. She chose to believe Yemo. She felt the more she knew about Emoing, the more confused she was about him. The first time they met, she thought she saw through him, but now, it was getting more and more unclear. Yemo's spirit sense quickly scanned through the books here but didn't find anything. Was the Ni Luo Sutra not here? He scanned it carefully a second time but soon found something wasn't right. In a Tao Te Sutra, there were 2 pages in the middle that was blank and 1 page had the hidden words enai luo. The other page was empty and had nothing. This book was strange. If he didn't have spirit sense, he wouldn't even be able to see it. Yemo walked over to that Tao Te Sutra and took it. Seeing Yemo do that, Luo Xian asked strangely, "Emo brother, this is a Tao Te Sutra. I'm trying to find enai luo sutra." Yemo smiled faintly and said, "Don't worry." Then, he flipped to the 2 blank pages. However, due to it was an ancient book, the pages were rather yellow. "There's nothing here." Usually, these ancient books have some blank pages. These pages are for readers to write comments and notes. Luo Xian said. Yemo flipped it to that single page and said, "Look carefully." "Enai luo?" Luo Xian almost yelled out, but soon, she took the book from Yemo's hands excitedly. She said joyfully, "It really is enai luo. This must be the enai luo sutra. This is the latter half. There should be a former half." Luo Xian quickly saw the 2 letters luo nye. Yemo scanned his spirit sense again but said, "The former half isn't here, I didn't see it." "See it? Aren't you calculating it?" "Emo brother, you really are capable. You can even calculate this." Luo Xian's eyes were full of admiration. She didn't have much hope at the very beginning and her sect just gave her this mission to test her luck. But she actually found it. "Thank you, Yi brother." Luo Xian held on the book tightly. But Yemo wasn't so optimistic like Luo Xian. He said, "Luo Xian, I suspect that Huike wouldn't let you take the book out so easily. Even if you ask him for it, what if he disagrees? Plus, if he noticed what was wrong with this book, he wouldn't let you take it away no matter what." Hearing Yemo's words, Luo Xian frowned. Obviously, she also realized this problem. "Don't worry, I have a way to take it out for you, Yemo suddenly stopped talking and looked at the book, contemplating again. "What's wrong?" Luo Xian asked immediately. "Give me the book again." Yemo took it from Luo Xian and pulled the second blank page. With a little force, it fell. It was only put inside but not a part of the book itself. Yemo looked at the page for a while and ripped it again. This time, it wasn't ripped apart. Huh? Luo Xian also saw Yemo's actions. He didn't even rip apart a piece of paper. She was stunned as well. Yemo held this paper in the middle of his palm and used high chi fire. This paper was immediately burnt to ash. A golden paper with similar size to the page appeared in Yemo's hands. "What is this?" Luo Xian asked in amazement. Although she didn't know what this was, she knew that this extremely thin golden paper was very valuable. Yemo was very shocked. This golden paper was too scary because as soon as he scanned his spirit sense in, it immediately disappeared as though sand into sea. This was definitely something significant. Yemo knew how to make magic artifact and had seen some spirit artifact as well. He even saw his master's magic artifact, but this gold paper gave him a feel that he couldn't see through. This thing must be more valuable than all spirit artifact. Yemo even thought this was a spirit relic. But this was too astonishing. Spirit relic was in the legends, even in cultivation realm. How could it appear on the earth? Plus, he never heard of cultivators on the earth. This thing is very precious, precious to a degree that I can't fathom. Yemo fell silent for a while before answering. Luo Xian also understood and looked hesitantly at Yemo, saying, "Is this thing very important to you?" Yemo nodded. "Yes, very." He really wanted this golden paper, but he knew that since Luo Xian wanted this book, it meant that this was the thing their sect was also looking for. Luo Xian bit her lips and after a while she said, "Since it's useful to you, then take it. I don't know anything. I'll take back this book. If I take back other things, my sect won't be able to know what they are anyways and would perhaps just leave them there." Yemo looked at Luo Xian in astonishment. She actually gave this golden paper to him. Seeing Yemo's reaction, Luo Xian suddenly breathed easy. "To be honest, without your help, I wouldn't be able to find this as well. Perhaps my sect just wants to see this book and your paper just happened to be put inside. You found it, so of course it belongs to you. Don't worry. I won't tell anyone. And this thing isn't really useful to me anyways. Suddenly, Yumo's face changed and the golden leaf and paper disappeared. He looked strangely at Luo Xian and said, Luo Xian, let's go, Huakei is back. Okay, we found the thing anyway. As soon as Luo Xian and Yemo walked out of the library, Huakei's voice sounded. Xian, you didn't even tell me that you were coming here. I'm back. Luo Xian frowned but didn't say anything. Huakei with the company of a middle-aged man came over. He saw Luo Xian walk out of the library and was a little bemused. He said, Luo Xian, aren't you going to look at the books? Luo Xian smiled and said, Grandpa Hua, my sister just called me saying that she needs me. I want to go over and see first and come back in a few days. Huh? Xian, why are you leaving already? Don't be in such a hurry. I'll help you find your sister later. Let's eat lunch first. Huakei said desperately. Yemo was automatically ignored by him. No need, I'm going. Goodbye, Grandpa Hua. Let's go, Emoing. Then, Luo Xian grabbed Yemo's hand and before Huakei could reply, they just walked out. Huakei looked carefully on Yemo and didn't find him carrying any books with him. Then, he looked bleakly at Luo Xian. Just when he wanted to say something, he was pulled by the man next to him. When he reacted, Luo Xian and Yemo had been long gone. Huakei signaled Huakei with his eyes and Huakei immediately followed, rambling something behind Luo Xian. Martial brother Liang, why did you pull me? Huakei looked at the man and asked. The middle-aged man said with a bleak face. Martial brother, do you know who that man was? He is Yemo, the one who took the blood coral. Then what are we waiting for? Hurry up and stop them. Huakei said desperately. This martial brother Liang sneered. Hua brother, you underestimate him too much. Do you know Helu's sect? It's said that the 7 people they sent all died in his hands, including the Gong Zizai. Why do you think we can stop him? This martial brother Liang sneered. Hua brother, you underestimate him too much. Do you know Helu's sect? It's said that the 7 people they sent all died in his hands, including the Gong Zizai. Why do you think we can stop him? He's this strong. Huakei gasped some cold air and felt scared. If he attacked Yemo just then, perhaps his Hua family would be gone now. Martial brother Liang sneered bleakly and said, Martial brother, don't worry. We're not a match for him indeed, but I've contacted the Helu sect people and some other people. Do you think he can get away? Helu sect was very shocked after their 7 masters died, and they sent out large amounts of masters this time. To them, the blood coral is second priority. Getting revenge by killing Yemo is their top priority. Huakei nodded. Okay, Liang brother. You go contact the Dao friends from Helu's sect and I'll go investigate where he's living at. But we need to let that little girl live, Kay is very attracted to her. By the way, martial brother, do you know that girl's background? I asked old Zhu. He said a friend introduced her. Martial brother Liang shook his head and said, This girl cultivated ancient martial arts for sure, but I can't tell which sect she came from. She probably is a small sect disciple, otherwise she can't be with someone like Yemo. Xian, wait for me. I finally came back. Huakei kept rambling behind Yemo and Luo Xian. He really did have a difficult journey coming back. He was prepared to make things happen tonight, and prepared tranquilizer pills to tranquilize Luo Xian when they ate. Then, he would do his business so Luo Xian would be his woman. What he didn't expect was that Luo Xian actually left and didn't even drink tea. What he didn't expect more was that his grandpa didn't stop Luo Xian and let him stop her. But Luo Xian didn't even look at him and quickly disappeared with that man. Emoing, you looked not right. Did something happen? After they walked out a long distance, Luo Xian asked. Yemo nodded. That man who entered the house as well probably recognized me. If I'm not wrong, he'll be inviting people to kill me tonight. Yemo observed very clearly. Just when he walked out from Huakei's house, He saw that man's face twitch and his body even shake a little. From this, Yemo was certain that he was recognized. An ordinary person dares to attack you? Don't worry. If he invites too many people, I will help you. I'm a black level master now. I can take on 10s of him. Luo Xian immediately comforted. She felt her power skyrocket, and so did her confidence. Yemo looked strangely at Luo Xian and intentionally hesitated for a moment before saying, "Are you sure you can take him on?" Luo Xian immediately said, "I think your brain isn't working well from concocting too much pills. Although concocting pills and foreseeing is good, but your power is what matters the most. You're lucky you met me. If you met someone else, you wouldn't be free just because of that powerful pills you had. Perhaps you would be kept in custody to make pills. But to be honest, you're really good. You found the book such quickly amongst all those books. I really admire you." Yemo smiled. That old man was black level peak stage, and that man who came with him is earth level primary stage. If they ask for help, it would all be earth levels. You sure you can take on them? Huh? Luo Xian looked at Yemo in disbelief and hesitated for a while before saying, "You can see what power level they are?" "Of course. You're a black level primary stage girl. It's not that I don't believe you. What if you happen not to beat them? I will suffer due to you," Yemo said casually. Luo Xian's face was bulging red and looked at the calm Yemo and suddenly stomped Yemo's feet. "Were you playing with me intentionally just then? You already knew they are Earth-level masters, then why are you staying here? Hurry up and run." Her face was red, half due to Yemo knowing that she was bluffing and half that she was really worried. If these people were really as strong as Yemo said, then even her martial sister would be no match for these people. Seeing Luo Xian stomp his feet, Yemo didn't mind and couldn't even be bothered to dodge. He said plainly, "Because I'm not afraid of them at all. If I was, I wouldn't be coming with you today." Luo Xian stared at Yemo for a moment before saying, "I feel like you changed a lot today. Last time, you said you needed a few days before you would come with me to the Hua family. Was it because you hadn't broken through yet? Then, you used my chi recovery pills to make those pills and you broke through. Then you would come with me today. The pill I ate in the morning was also the same batch?" Yemo nodded. "Indeed, the reason I came with you was because I broke through. I gave you 3 pills and came with you to repay you for the 8 chi recovery pills." He secretly commended Luo Xian for remembering exactly what he said a few days ago. "So that's it." Luo Xian breathed easy, but suddenly, she froze and looked at Yemo in shock. "Don't tell me you were telling the truth when you said you were Great Heaven State? Are you really a Great Heaven State Master? Are Great Heaven Masters very strong?" Yemo asked speechlessly. "Of course, in the small. No, in my place, the Great Heaven Masters are very rare. Even our sect only has one Great Heaven Master. You tell me if they are strong?" Luo Xian said very seriously. Yemo really wanted to ask what sect she was in, but he didn't eventually. He could only say, "I'm not Great Heaven, but I'm not too sure exactly what state I'm in, but..." Yemo wanted to say that he could probably kill Great Heaven State, but he didn't. After all, he hadn't seen one before. He knew the difference between Black level and Earth level. If the difference between Great Heaven and Earth was greater, then he really wouldn't be sure. Can Great Heaven Masters fly? Yemo thought for a long time and couldn't find a way to compare, so he could only ask this. Luo Xian looked strangely at Yemo. After a long time, she said speechlessly, "Are you really an ancient martial arts cultivator? I really suspect that. If you can fly, then wouldn't you be an immortal? I've never heard of someone who could cultivate to an extent that they can fly. Now, I don't even know what you're saying is true or false." Luo Xian really didn't know. If Yemo liked to lie to people, the pills he gave were real. And he could find the Luo and I Sutra. This meant that Yemo was no ordinary person. But sometimes, his words didn't sound so reliable. Yemo, however, nodded. "If they can't fly, then they should be no match for me. If I want to kill them, it shouldn't be too hard." Luo Xian rolled her eyes at Yemo. You speak as if you can fly. I won't talk smack with you now. We should go to the school quickly and find the former half of the Ni Luo Sutra. Then I'll take you to my martial sister. Those people shouldn't be able to find us there. Yemo was speechless. He thought to himself, I really could fly though, but he didn't need to tell Luo Xian that. After all, she and him were not people of the same world. The small world she was in should have some spirit grass. After he was done with the things outside, he would go to the small world and get revenge from Tai while getting some spirit things. The two got off the taxi at Chun and Uni. Luo Xian suddenly stopped and thought of a key question. Yemo saw Luo Xian's strange eyes and asked, Why are you looking at me? Not right, you said they recognized you. Is your name fake too? And why were those people hunting after you? Luo Xian was very meticulous, and because of Yemo's interruption, she forgot to ask some questions, but now she remembered. Yemo said plainly, It's fine if you know. My original name is Yemo. Because I got a blood coral, these people want to catch me and rob the blood coral away. You really have blood coral on you. Luo Xian heard from her martial sister a few days ago about the blood coral. She was really shocked when Yemo mentioned it. But she immediately understood what pill Yemo gave to her. It was pill made from the blood coral. Yemo could actually make the blood coral into pills. This meant that he really didn't lie when he said he was a pill master. Yemo saw Luo Xian's expression and knew she guessed it out. He nodded. You guess right. The pill I gave to you was made from the blood coral. It was such a precious pill, no wonder I could keep ascending. Luo Xian exclaimed and said again, You brother, thank you. You actually gave me such precious pills. Yemo smiled. Theoretically, without your chi recovery pill, I wouldn't be able to make the chi increasing pills, so you don't need to be thankful. Originally, I lost out a little, but now, I earn big. I should be thanking you. Luo Xian knew Yemo was talking about that golden paper. She smiled and didn't feel at all that Yemo earned big. Although Chunin Uni wasn't the most famous uni in China, it had a long history. There were all sorts of genius and handsome guys and girls there. Although Chunin Uni wasn't the most famous uni in China, it had a long history. There were all sorts of genius and handsome guys and girls there. Luo Xian was undoubtedly an angel beauty in the uni, however. Because of this, she always stayed at the library and rarely went to class, much less school activities. So although she was the dream lover of many guys, she would never talk to anyone. It was hard even for girls to talk to Luo Xian, much less guys. Ziyun was an exception, but it was just her. Although many people wanted to know Luo Xian through Ziyun, the results were disappointing. Although there were many people who continued to search for Luo Xian every day and wanted to meet her with their persistence, no one had really seen her go out with anyone. What made everyone disappointed was that not only did she ignore these people who went for her, but she even moved out of the school. No one even knew where she lived now. But today, Luo Xian actually walked into the uni while laughing with a man. This made all the guys drop their jaws on the ground. Although the guy looked not bad, he wasn't handsome to a heavenly shocking degree. How did he take down the angel of Chunin? Yemo felt strange that so many people looked at him when he walked into the uni. The eyes didn't seem very friendly. Luo Xian smiled. She knew what was going on, but she didn't need to explain such things to Yemo. Although Yemo seemed the same age as these students, in her view, his inner character and knowledge were far superior. She felt she couldn't see through Yemo at all. She believed she was quite beautiful, at least she didn't see anyone prettier than her, but being with Yemo, she didn't feel like she was pretty at all. This was because Yemo never looked at her with those admiring eyes, nor did he say any flirty words. His eyes were always clean and without any other thoughts. Just when Yemo wanted to ask where the library was, there was a fit of rambling at the school entrance. There are people fighting. A few students yelled and everyone rushed over. To these extremely bored students, such events were rather interesting. Yemo didn't want to go, but Luo Xian said, The one fighting is a martial arts cultivator. A martial arts cultivator would be fighting at school entrance. Yemo also looked over. He knew both the fighters. He didn't expect to meet Su Ping here. Yemo didn't even think and walked towards the school entrance. Luo Xian also followed Yemo. Wu Jinjuan was smacked to the ground, unable to get up. His two followers were also on the ground. The man hitting didn't stop and kept kicking with his leg. Young Master Wu cursed. What bad luck he had been having, always getting beaten up. Yemo walked over and stopped the big man. Su brother, I thought I would only be able to see you a year later. I didn't expect to see you here. Life is really full of wonders. Yemo really didn't expect to see Su Ping here. This made him very happy. If it wasn't Su Ping's star jade, his flying sword wouldn't reach its current quality. And Su Ping was a very good person. Due to his strength last time, Yemo didn't tell him the truth and felt guilty. Now that he met Su Ping, he immediately wanted to catch up with him. The man stopped kicking and saw it was Yemo. He immediately exclaimed in joy, "Emo brother, it really is you. I was searching for your news last time and I heard you were forced down the cliff by those sons of bitches. I really didn't expect to meet you here. This is great. Brother, it really is you. Save me. Your friend is so unreasonable. I was the one who invited you to go chat up girls last time, Wu Jinjuan." Young Master Wu saw it was Yemo and immediately begged for help in excitement. Su Ping looked strangely at Yemo and asked, "Emo brother, you know this guy?" In his mind, Yemo would never know a young master like Su Ping. Yemo nodded helplessly. "Yeah, Su brother, please let him go on account of me." Xu Ping didn't ask Yemo why and just yelled at Wu Jinjuan. "Piss off. Next time I see you acting cocky again, I'll beat you each time." Su Ping could also tell that Yemo wasn't that close to this Wu Jinjuan. Su Ping didn't hit very hard. After all, Wu Jinjuan was an ordinary person. Hearing Su Ping's words, Wu Jinjuan immediately crawled up and rubbed his shoulders while walking in front of Yemo. "Friend, thanks, you are really amazing. You actually..." Speaking to this, Wu Jinjuan looked fearfully at Luo Xian next to Yemo. In his view, Yemo was really capable to get in with this girl. Yemo thought, this young Master Wu was really a meme. The first person he noticed was actually Luo Xian. However, he didn't have the intentions of talking too much with this young master. Just when he was about to invite Su Ping to sit for a while, a police car drove over and stopped by them. 3 people came down. Other than the 2 Yemos saw last time, there was also a middle-aged policeman. "What's wrong?" That middle-aged policeman looked amicably at Wu Jinjuan, and then looked seriously at Su Ping and Yemo. That policewoman Zhang Feng looked more seriously at Yemo. Yemo gave her too much bad impression. But soon, she saw Luo Xian and was shocked. Although she didn't ask about the situation, she could tell from the scene that this young Master Wu must be harassing pretty girls again, and Yemo helped this young Master Wu. Then, this bulky man acted heroically. They couldn't beat this bulky man, so they called the police. Seeing this middle-aged police asked Su Ping in a criticizing manner, Wu Jinjuan quickly walked up and said, "Captain Wang, let this go. It was a misunderstanding." Wu Jinjuan's words not only shocked that captain but also Yemo. This Wu Jinjuan was willing to let Su Ping go. This was unexpected. In his eyes, these young masters were usually extremely cocky. They wouldn't let people go like that so easily, even though Su Ping didn't beat him that hard. The captain looked curiously at Yemo and them. But since the victim said never mind, he wouldn't do anything extra. Yemo looked at Wu Jinjuan and smiled. "Not bad, you didn't betray me helping you twice." Although this Wu Jinjuan was a bit of a young master, he wasn't bad. At least he still had some loyalty. The reason he said never mind wasn't because he knew that Yemo wasn't afraid of the police, but because Yemo helped him twice, and this Su Ping was Yemo's friend. Yemo then looked at Su Ping. "Su brother, let's find a place to talk." "Okay." Su Ping and Yemo and Luo Xian left, but Wu Jinjuan still yelled at the back. "Brother, I'll invite you to food next time. I'm called Wu Jinjuan." This was the 3rd time he told Yemo his name, and Yemo wanted to laugh. This guy was really intriguing. This kid isn't that annoying. I saw this guy in front of a restaurant pulling a girl he didn't know to drink. This triggered me and I beat him up. Mo brother, how did you know him? Su Ping asked. Mo shook his head. I don't know him, but not long ago, he saved my life unintentionally. Su Ping dazed and wanted to ask who could hurt Mo in the city, but that Zhang Feng policewoman caught up. What else do you want? Mo frowned and asked. Zhang Feng didn't even look at Mo and just said to Luo Xian, that person has done bad things. It's best you don't stay with him. He must have sweet-talked you a lot. Don't believe a word of him. Just think of everything he says as the opposite. Luo Xian frowned and wanted to say something, but this Zhang Feng came from goodwill, so she eventually smiled. Thank you for your care. I understand. Zhang Feng saw Luo Xian walk off with Mo eventually, and couldn't help but to shake her head. She murmured, why doesn't such a pretty girl know self-love? Why did she have to be with someone who calls hookers? Su Ping didn't know the situation but didn't intervene until a long way away. Mo brother, what's with that female police? Mo felt his chin and said, she caught me calling a hooker and blocked me in my house. Su Ping immediately continued, such a tiny thing? So what if you call a hooker? Both sides are willing. This woman is really nosy. Su Ping suddenly realized Luo Xian, who didn't seem happy, and immediately knew his words were problematic. He quickly added, how could Mo brother go call hookers? Sister-in-law, don't worry too much. Mo quickly intercepted. Su brother, we're just neighbors. There's nothing between us. Don't misunderstand. Luo Xian was expressionless and didn't say anything. The three found a tea house and then Mo asked, Su brother, how did you come to Chun'an? Su Ping sighed. I was planning to go back and cultivate, but I was afraid the Broken Fist Hall mad dogs would find where I live. So, I've been living in the city, and because I heard about your things, I plan to get revenge for you. But my power is too low. Recently, I heard there was a blood coral in Liangpu, so I rushed here. I was thinking that if I got the blood coral, perhaps I would be able to reach Earth's stage. That way, my chances of success would be greater. Then how did you come to Chun'an? Mo asked strangely. Su Ping continued. When I came to Liangpu, I immediately knew that the blood coral wasn't something I could touch. There were too many martial artists going Liangpu, and I had to accidentally stumble upon something. In the end I was hunted, so I came to hide at Chun'an. Luckily, those people didn't follow. I was prepared to stay one more day at Chun'an and then go to the 100,000 Great Mountains, but I met you here. I'm so happy. You didn't die. Su Ping continued. When I came to Liangpu, I immediately knew that the blood coral wasn't something I could touch. There were too many martial artists going Liangpu, and I had to accidentally stumble upon something. In the end I was hunted, so I came to hide at Chun'an. Luckily, those people didn't follow. I was prepared to stay one more day at Chun'an and then go to the 100,000 Great Mountains, but I met you here. I'm so happy. You didn't die. Mo laughed. Su brother, the person that got the blood coral is me. These people are going to Liangpu to rob my blood coral. Sorry, Su brother, I had too many enemies before and I didn't say my real name. I'm actually not called Moing. I'm Mo. Su Ping dazed at Mo for a long time before exclaiming in shock. Mo brother, you really are good. I didn't think that the blood coral was actually on you. This is such a surprise. Great, this is too great. Su Ping actually started laughing. His eyes were actually happy. Although he hadn't seen the blood coral, he had heard too many stories of it. To him, such a good thing was better in Mo's hands than other people's hands. Mo took out a porcelain vase and tipped out 2 chi-increasing pills to Su Ping and said, Su Ping, these are the pills made from the blood coral. I'll give you 2. You're yellow level tertiary stage now. When you go back, find a quiet place and eat a pill. Half a year later, eat another. These 2 can guarantee you to reach Earth level. Su Ping held the vase and was dumbfounded. After a long time, he reacted and quickly pushed the bottle back to Mo. No brother, this is too precious. I can't take it. Although he pushed it back to Emo, Su Ping's heart was roaring with waves of shock. It could let yellow level reach earth level. This was absurd. If people outside knew, they would slaughter anyone who stood in the way to it. But Su Ping had this principle. Although he desired for this pill, he knew that with his relationship to Emo, this was too precious. Emo pushed the bottle back and said seriously, Su brother, if you look down on me, then don't take it. You were willing to avenge me after hearing about my death. Giving you these 2 pills is nothing. Even the essence increasing pill to reach great heaven states I can help you get, much less these 2 chi increasing pills. Plus, if it wasn't for your material, my flying sword wouldn't be able to be completed. If we're talking about owing, then it's me who owes you. Luo Xian looked at the 2 in shock. A pill to reach earth level, and he gave 2. She knew the value of this pill because she had 1. And these 2, one was giving it away and the other didn't want it. What was flying sword? Emo also said that he could make the pill to reach great heaven state. If this got out, the small world would be flipping over. Okay, ye brother, if I'm still going to push it away, it would be acting up. If ye brother you don't mind, we'll do what they did in the ancient times and swear as brothers. Su Ping no longer rejected and took the pills. Whether it was real or fake, Emo was someone who could become brothers with in his eyes. Emo stood up. Of course, let us be sworn brothers here today. I have a big brother called Xiao Chaonong. Although Xiao brother isn't here today, let us swear in brotherhood together. Su Ping also stood up and said, Sure, a man whom you can call big brother definitely is a true man. The 2 used tea as wine and became sworn brothers. Luo Xian looked at the side in admiration, but she wasn't a man. If she was a man, perhaps she would also rise up the intent to swear in brotherhood with someone like Emo. 3rd brother. 2nd brother. They finished the oath and stood up. They looked at each other and laughed out loud. If there's Peach Tree Garden here, then you guys can relive the history of swearing brotherhood in the Peach Gardens. Luo Xian smiled. TL note, swearing brotherhood in the Peach Gardens was a historical event of the 3 Kingdoms era where 3 people swore brotherhood in the Peach Gardens. Luo Xian approved of Emo from the bottom of her heart. Regardless if he could make the essence increasing pill, from how he could casually give Su Ping the chi increasing pill, it meant that he was no ordinary person. Plus, with her knowledge of him, Emo was indeed a mystery, but he seemed very generous. Emo took out a curved sword he made before and gave it to Su Ping and then gave him 3 lotus life seeds and said, 2nd brother, I made this sword for you. Try it out and these pills. No matter how serious your wounds are, as long as you haven't died, you can recover from it. Take these. Su Ping took the curved sword and tapped it on the corner of the table. The table corner fell off immediately. He looked at the sword in surprise. Good sword, I didn't think 3rd brother you can craft weapons as well. Luo Xian saw that the sword in Su Ping's hands was this sharp and was also taken back. This sword could be called God's weapons. Yet Emo gave it away again so easily. Emo saw Su Ping take these things and then asked, 2nd brother, what did you hear about? Why were you forced to Chunin? Su Ping said hatefully. It's the He-Lu sect people. These bastards are too atrocious. A few days ago, I heard that they were going to Beijing to exterminate the entire Yi family to get revenge. I just walked past. Of course I won't care about such thing. What? Emo stood up abruptly and his eyes were full of killing intent. Although there wasn't much connection between the Yi family and him, his sister Yi Ling and brother Yi Zifeng were still there. These He-Lu sect people wanted to bring his family into this. They didn't want to live. 3rd brother you? Are you from the Beijing Yi family? Su Ping suddenly woke up. Emo's face was bleak like water as he nodded. Although I'm not the Yi family member now, I still have a brother and sister there. If something happens to them, I will pull the He-Lu sect from its roots. 3rd brother, let's stop talking. We should hurry to Beijing. Even if it costs my life, I won't let the He-Lu sect bastards succeed. Su Ping's face changed drastically and was full of regret. He actually didn't find out that the Beijing Yi family was his third brother's family. Yemo shook his head. Second brother, if they have already done so, it's no use going now. If they haven't, then I am enough to deal with them. They had a few Earth levels masters killed by me, so this time, it should be all Earth levels going. Second brother, you won't be able to help me now if you go. Su Ping nodded. He wasn't unhappy at all at Yemo's words. He had seen Yemo's power. Yemo was really strong and killed 2 black level peak stage masters easily. Now Yemo said that he killed a few Earth level masters. This meant that his power surged up drastically. Was he really a great heaven level master? Second brother, do you have any place to go? If you don't, you can go to Flowing Snake first. I've made a company at Flowing Snake called Luoyu. You should be able to cultivate in peace there. Yemo said. Su Ping immediately said, Okay, I will wait for you at Flowing Snake. Yemo nodded. I made the company to collect all the spirit things in the world and make pills with them. Second brother, don't worry. I will make you reach great heaven for sure. Then Yemo turned and said to Luo Xian. Sorry, Luo Xian, I'm going back to Beijing immediately. If possible, I will come back to help you find the book tonight. If not, then you can only go look for it by yourself. I'll give you your book back first. Yemo took out that Anai Luo Sutra and gave it to Luan Xian. Luo Xian took the book. She didn't know where Yemo put the book but still nodded and said, I know. It's fine even if you don't help me. I know what book I'm looking for now. Perhaps I would be able to find it in half a day. If I find it, I will save that thing for you. If I'm not at home today, then go to Yinghua Temple 30 miles east of here. I will wait for you there. Yemo and Su Ping didn't hide anything from her during their conversation. And perhaps influenced by them, she didn't think much and told them where she would be. After the 3 split, Su Ping went towards Flowing Snake, and Luo Xian went towards the library. Yemo found an empty place and stood on his flying sword and sped like lightning towards Beijing. Beijing Yi family? Although due to Yemo's rampage, it no longer had that temperament before. People didn't even see the young masters of the Yi family being cocky on the streets, but the people who knew the inside information wouldn't think so. Only people who had power in Beijing would know that despite the Yi family losing their previous temperament, it actually became a lot stronger than before instead. No family would have the courage to give the family leader position to a youth in his 20s, but the Yi family did. The current leader of the Yi family, Yi Zifeng, was only 23, and this was the only case. People who knew didn't laugh at Yi family at all because Yi Beirong's move was magnificent. Ever since Yi Zifeng took over the family leader, the Li family and Xiao family rushed to show their good intentions. And this new election, the support for the Yi family increased drastically. This wasn't it. Even Han Zixing went to the Yi family to visit Yi Beirong many times. This was all because people knew that Yi Zifeng had a brother called Yemo, and he was incredibly strong. But today, the Yi family mansion seemed serious and silent. Not only was it surrounded by anti-violence police, but there was the smell of blood coming from inside. At this moment, the Yi family mansion had been locked down and people weren't allowed near. At this moment in the Yi family mansion, there were 10 coffins all containing direct lineage of the Yi family. But Yi Beirong sat in the meeting hall with a bleak face, not saying anything. At this moment in the Yi family mansion, there were 10 coffins all containing direct lineage of the Yi family. But Yi Beirong sat in the meeting hall with a bleak face, not saying anything. The words of those people who came still rung by his ears. Yi Beirong, the first day is 10 people, the second day will be 50. If we don't see Yemo by the third day, the Yi family will disappear from Beijing. This was the second day. Although there were a lot of anti-riot policemen here, no one dared to open fire. No one knew when they would appear and where. It could be said that they were ordered to protect the Yi family but didn't not receive orders to kill the perpetrators. Yi Beirong knew what was going on, of course. This was because the country's negotiation with the hidden sects was that both sides must not start a conflict. If the government started trouble with the hidden sects, or even killed the people in the hidden sects could kill the offender, and the government must not intervene. If someone or a sect damaged the government's interests, the government could destroy this person or sect at all costs, and the rest of the sects must not intervene. But the reasons the government could tolerate the existence of the hidden sects might be due to that there were indeed powerful people in the hidden sects, and could destroy a place easily, but a more important reason was that the hidden sects were an important part of the country. Even in the hidden international battles, the main source of power of the country was from the hidden sections. Now Emo started feud with the Hilu sect of the hidden sects, and killed 7 of them. Thus, the Hilu sect came for revenge. If Han Zixin didn't intervene, perhaps the first day, the Hilu sect would have annihilated the entire Yi family. Even though Han Zixin intervened, he only delayed it for 2 days and at the cost of many lives of the Yi family. The normal citizens wouldn't know at all that there were hidden sects in this world, much less the crisis the Yi family was facing now. The Hilu sect people are too cocky this time. Do they really think we're afraid of them? Zhang Ju was very angry. He was the first to go over when the incident at the Yi family occurred. But yesterday, he was injured. If it wasn't for his identity, perhaps he would have been killed like the others. Han Zixin shook his head. Of course we're not afraid, but we can't annihilate them all. If they really want to annihilate the Yi family, no matter how many anti-riot policemen we send, it would be useless. You can kill 1 or 2, but can you kill everyone in the hidden sects? The country can't just kill off the hidden sections. Elder Tan should be great heaven now, right? Wouldn't it be very easy for him to deal with the Hilu sect that doesn't have great heaven state? Zhang Ju hesitated for a moment and said. He was quite close to Emo, and now that the Hilu sect people were going to kill all of the Yi family, of course he wasn't going to watch. But he was no match and couldn't see the Hilu sect people going into the Yi family mansion. He had nowhere to use his power, and he knew that the Elder Han's words were right. If they really wanted to kill off the Yi family, there was no use even if they guarded the mansion every day. Han Zixin didn't answer Zhang Ju's question directly and said, Elder Tan also came from the hidden sects, so did Elder Feng. Plus, there are many masters in the hidden sections. Who knows if they have great heaven-level masters or not? Plus, the hidden sects have always had contributions to the country. If we completely side with the Yi family on this, it's not suitable. But the Yi family was different from the O family. Elder Tan wouldn't ignore it. He would probably persuade the Hilu sect to let the Yi family go. However, Emo haven't appeared now, so he can't really say it yet. The Yi family is too cocky. That Emo dare kill multiple people from the Hilu sect. I heard that the Broken Fist Hall was also annihilated due to him. If this Emo doesn't give us an explanation, I won't intervene with the Yi family business. A cold voice sounded and Han Zixin and Zhang Ju were shocked. Zhang Ju immediately went into the mansion and checked and then came out. That was Elder Tan. He probably came and left. Han Zixin frowned and after a while he sighed. Emo killed too many this time and angered Elder Tan. Zhang Ju, don't contact him anymore. Even if Emo came back, it wouldn't help at all but only get himself killed. Yi family, sigh. But hearing what Elder Tan just said, as long as Instructor Yi comes, he will help mediate the situation. Zhang Ju immediately said. Han Zixin shook his head but didn't say anything. Zhang Ju didn't understand Tan Jiao, but he did. Tan Jiao was very loyal to the country, but so was he to the hidden sect. It was impossible to let someone like him let go Emo, who killed many people of the Hilu sect, which was one of the 6 big sections. And according to him, the Broken Fist Hall also fell in Yemo's hands. It could be seen that Tan Jiao already had prejudice against Emo. This time, he was going to use the Hilu sect to kill Emo. At this moment, in the Miyang Lake in Beijing, inside a bamboo building, there were 2 elderly men in their 50s sitting opposite to each other. Beside them stood a woman about 25 to 26 years old. This woman seemed very elegant and peaceful. Elder Tan, after a year of solitary training, your temper seemed to have grown. Are you really going to let the Hilu sect people kill off the Yi family? The man wearing gray robes asked worriedly. Another lean-built man with white top sneered. This Emo is too arrogant and very cruel. Yuani was quite possibly murdered by him. I even suspect that he annihilated the Qiao family, but Han Zixin is helping him, saying that the Qiao family incident isn't related to him. This time, not only did he annihilate the Broken Fist Hall but also killed multiple people of the He-Lu sect. If I'm still going to keep him alive, how will I face the Dao colleagues in the hidden sect? The gray-clothed man sighed. The president has spoken. The Yi family's situation is different from the O family and Song family. The two are suspected of selling the country, but Yi family isn't. If we annihilate them, the president wouldn't allow this to happen. Our great China just suddenly have one of its big families being exterminated. Even the Song family is living well in another province. Plus, the president has a good impression of that EMO. Tan Jiao's face sunk. I owe Song Yuani. This will be repayment to him. I didn't expect in our time of solitary training, such a monster appeared. I will talk with the president. The Yi family doesn't need to be killed all, but murder must be paid with life. We'll let the He-Lu sect kill some to ease their anger, but Yi Ling and Yi Zifeng must die. Why can He Yemo kill people but others can't kill him? The gray-robed man sunk in silence for a moment before saying, I know that you're being like this because Song Yuani and Gong Zizai died in Yemo's hands. But the country has laws. If we do things according to the hidden sect's fashion for everything, the government won't allow it. The hidden sects are strong, but if they fight with the army of the country, the ambitious forces around will use this opportunity to attack our country. Then, what would be the point of us martial arts cultivators? What face do we have to go see our ancestors? Seeing the bleak-faced Tan Jiao, the gray-robed man said again. Plus, this time we went into solitary training together, and you reached to greater heaven first. It could be said you're at the pinnacle of this world. The more powerful you are, the more careful you need to be, or one mistake is the endless pit. Wait another day. If Yemo still doesn't come back today, Yi Ling and Yi Zifeng must die. As for the others, we'll have to see what the He-Lu sect people say. Even if the He-Lu sect people plan to come, it wouldn't be now. They would wait till night. Tan Jiao said. The gray-robed man said disappointedly. I heard old Han say that Yemo is quite a valuable person, but he's just too aggressive. Sigh, he needs to learn a lesson. Young people, too much arrogance. Second uncle, how about we let Yi Ling and Yi Zifeng leave first? The Yi family meeting room was suffocating, and Yi Long started. Yi Beirong shook his head. No use. Yi Zifeng already had his leg broken by them, and I'm sure that if one person leaves alone, he would be killed by them immediately. Although we don't see them anywhere, as soon as one of us goes out, they would come out. I won't go. My brother will definitely come back after he hears news of this. Yi Ling rubbed her red eyes and said. There was a clear palm print on her face. Yesterday was a disaster to the Yi family. If Elder Han didn't come, who knew how many more they were going to be killed? Second brother just said one sentence and had his legs broken. The reason they didn't kill him was to wait for Yemo to come back. The same was for her as well. They said they would kill her and her second brother in front of their big brother to let big brother know the consequence of messing with the hidden sections. As soon as she said this, some people already started looking at her with animosity. This thing was completely due to Yemo. If it wasn't for Yemo, the Yi family wouldn't suffer such a huge disaster. Yet, the one causing the trouble didn't even come back. If they didn't fear Yemo's revenge, they would have started swearing already. Yi Beirong looked around and knew how these people thought. He just said plainly, This is a life and death situation for our family, not a time to complain. If it wasn't for Yemo, perhaps our Yi family would have been long devoured by the Song family. Grandpa, why is no one here? A young member of the family said. Yi Long scanned him and said, The flying snow and anti-riot police are out there to protect us, but is there any use? When they left, did anyone catch a culprit? And I'm sure when they come today, no one would notice as well. You're right. We have come but no one noticed us indeed. If our He-Lu sect wants to annihilate your family, there's no use even if the Heavenly Emperor comes. A bleak voice continued Yi Long's words. Before the sound finished, 4 men suddenly appeared in the meeting room. No one even saw how they walked in. Oh, your Hilu sect people are this cocky? But you really took the words right out of my mouth. Even if the Heavenly Emperor comes, I, Yemo, will still annihilate the Hilu sect. An even colder voice sounded. Oh, your Hilu sect people are this cocky? But you really took the words right out of my mouth. Even if the Heavenly Emperor comes, I, Yemo, will still annihilate the Hilu sect. An even colder voice sounded. Brother! Yiling was the first to react and rushed over into Yemo's arms. Who hit you? Yemo saw the red and swollen face of Yiling and immediately surged with fury. At the same time, he put his hand on Yiling's face and with the use of qi, the internal blood was removed and soon, her face recovered to be smooth. The four looked at Yemo and a sliver of surprise went across their eyes. They also don't know when Yemo came in, but they reacted quickly. They immediately split into four cornering Yemo. They were thinking that Yemo should be in Chenan now. How did he appear in Beijing? But since he came, he wouldn't be able to leave. I hit her, and I also smacked out her 2 teeth, so what? Oh, I forgot to tell you. I also broke that Yi Zifeng's leg. This wasn't it. You saw the 10 coffins outside? They were all killed by me. Originally, I wanted to go to Chenan to kill you, but you came here yourself. Haha, perfect. The short man amongst the four jeered. Yemo's eyes were ice cold. Although he knew that Yiling wasn't his biological sister, but she was still his sister in his heart, and was no different to Tang Beiwei. Now, someone dared to insult Yiling like this, he could no longer control the fury in his heart. It is perfect. As soon as Yemo spoke, he came in front of the short man and grabbed his chest. He raised his hand and there were countless slaps. The short man couldn't even struggle in Yemo's hands. He could only open his eyes and look as Yemo kept slapping his face. The sound of beating echoed across the hall. When the other three reacted, Yemo came back to Yiling's side. That short man he beat up was casually dumped on the ground. He was shriveled like a shrimp and the other three could tell that all the meridians in his body were destroyed. The short man no longer had any flesh on his face, much less teeth. There were only bones at his face. Yet there were no signs of blood on Yemo's hand. It was clean as though he had done nothing. You're asking to die. Another man also reacted and pierced towards Yemo with his long sword. It was fast like lightning. Clank, the long sword pierced towards Yemo was sliced apart by Yemo and fell on the ground. Then Yemo's hand flashed and this man was decapitated. Blood splurged out, but the body was a few meters away from Yemo. No one saw how Yemo broke the sword, nor did they see how Yemo decapitated the man. All they could see was a purple light. After a clank, this man lost his head. Seeing the body on the ground and the shorty who had no flesh on his face, the remaining 2 men immediately went pale. Yemo, was this petrifying? Did he surpass Great Heaven? Even the Great Heaven state wouldn't be able to kill people as cleanly and swiftly as him. This was instant kill. At this moment, the 2 men actually stood dumbfounded. Yemo sneered. Mere 4 Earth-level fighters dare to start trouble here. You Hilu sect think too highly of yourself. Yi Beirong looked at Yemo in shock. He didn't even dare to believe Yemo came from the Yi family. Mere 4 Earth-level fighters? God, even one was enough to easily decimate the 5 great families, but he said a mere 4 Earth levels. Who was this grandson of his? Yi Beirong shivered and looked at the Yi family people in the room. Some of them were vomiting, and immediately ordered. All members of the Yi family leave. There's no business for you here, Beiguang. You go out and take care of the burial of the dead of Ye's family. Yilong, you stay. Then Yi Beirong looked at the pale-faced Hilu sect warriors and surged with excitement. He seemed to have returned to that warring era as hot blood coursed through his veins. Earth-level martial artist actually stood shakily in the hall of the Yi family. Looking at the two, Yi Beirong just wanted to laugh out loud. He wanted to let out the satisfaction in his heart. But when he thought of the deceased who had been ridiculed and insulted yesterday, he felt despondent again. What do you want? The older man said shakily. At this moment, the two were standing still, shivered in terror. They now knew the terror of Emo. No wonder he could easily kill many people of the Hilu sect. With his power, it was very easy for him to kill the entire sect. Funny that they were laughing about bodies everywhere in the Yi family, and how the Yi family was begging on their knees when they just came into Ye's mansion just now. There was begging, but it wasn't from Emo. It was from them. The Hilu sect was over. It messed with someone they shouldn't have. They were over too. They had never encountered such a master. It was their bad luck. Before they came, if someone said that Emo killed Earth levels like scarecrow dummies, they would have thought that person was dumb or crazy. But now, the reality was in front of their eyes. Now, they understood that there were really such masters in the world. The era of the hidden sect standing at the top of the world had passed, all because a monster like Emo appeared. Unless the hidden sect had a great heaven-level master, otherwise, no one would be a match for Emo in the entire outer hidden sect. It was way too easy for him to kill a sect. If he said he was going to exterminate the Hilu sect, he wasn't scaring them. It was the truth. Emo sneered. "What do I want? You came to Beijing to kill my brother and my sister, yet you ask me what do I want? You just said that the Yi family was going to disappear from Beijing. Why are you asking me now? How can you let us go? Whatever you want we can do for you." The one begging was the older man. Emo reached out his hand and 2 fireballs flew out. The body in that still struggling earth level immediately turned to dust. Energy condensing into fire? The older man's face went even paler. He had already tried to overestimate Emo, but he just realized that he was far from understanding Emo's true power. Energy condensing into fire. It was said that even great heavens couldn't do that, but this young man did it. Their Hilu sect deserved to be annihilated. He wasn't even thinking about the Hilu sect now. He was thinking about his own safety. Yi Qianbei, as long as Qianbei will have mercy on me, and spare Sihong's life, I'm willing to tell Qianbei where the Hilu sect is. That older man saw Emo fire out the fireball and could no longer control the fright in his heart, and knelt down. When death comes, he found that he wasn't willing to die at all. He still had wishes unfulfilled. How could he die like this? The hidden sect ancient martial arts cultivators were prideful, but no matter how prideful they were, they still feared in the wake of death. Because other than old age, there was no one who could take their lives. But now, Emo just reached his hand and he could kill them. If he had another chance, he would rather hide in a place for the rest of his life than see Emo. Now, he understood that it was very easy for hidden sect Earth-level masters to die. Let you go? You killed so many people and you want me to let you go? Emo sneered. I didn't kill the Yi family people, Qianbei. It really wasn't me. Hong Si suddenly thought that he hadn't killed a single Yes person. Perhaps he could really survive and his desire to live strengthened. I killed the people. Give me your life. The man who didn't talk at all suddenly jumped up. His sword turned into a beam and rushed for Yemo's head. If Emo was still stage 3 Qi gathering, he could only barely dodge this and use his flying sword to kill the opponent. But Emo knew that this sword was far from the full combo. Even if he dodged it, there would be more moves after it. Perhaps before he used his flying sword he would be at a disadvantage. But now Emo wouldn't give him a chance. His flying sword was far superior than the speed the man could attack. Before his beam reached Yemo's flying sword had cut his wrist. At the same time, he kicked on this man's dantian. This whole process only took one breath. One breath, and it was already over. This man was kicked flying out and fell onto the ground spitting blood. His soulless eyes glanced at Emo and suddenly yelled, "Gong Qiunian, you animal." Before he finished, he died. Hong Si, who still knelt on the ground, looked sadly at the man who had his dantian shattered by Yemo's kick. He felt more fear. This was the second time. The second time, yet he still couldn't see what Emo used to cut his companion's wrist. He only saw a pale purple ray fade away. But what gave him a deeper impression was that kick. That kick shattered his companion's dantian. Yemo just looked plainly at Hong Si, who knelt on the ground and didn't talk. Hong Si couldn't tolerate the choking silence of death and said shakily. This time, it was the Elder Gong Zizai's idea to come out and rob the blood coral. Elder Gong is Earth-level tertiary stage. He wanted to use the blood coral to ascend, but he died in Xianbei's hands. Gong Qianyan is the brother of Gong Zizai. He wanted revenge for Elder Gong, so... Seeing that Yemo had a bleak face and remained silent, Hong Si felt more uneasy. He hesitated before saying again. Today, we received news from Liang Qixing of Ping River. He said Xianbei was at Chunin. So, we were prepared to exterminate the Yi family in midday to prevent Elder Tan and Feng from stopping us. After that, we were planning to go with the people Liang Qixing invited to ambush Xianbei at Chunin. We didn't expect. Seeing that Yemo had a bleak face and remained silent, Hong Si felt more uneasy. He hesitated before saying again. Today, we received news from Liang Qixing of Ping River. He said Xianbei was at Chunin. So, we were prepared to exterminate the Yi family in midday to prevent Elder Tan and Feng from stopping us. After that, we were planning to go with the people Liang Qixing invited to ambush Xianbei at Chunin. We didn't expect. Liang Qixing? Is he related to Hukuming? Yemo remembered that middle-aged man he saw at the Hu family. Hong Si quickly nodded and said, Yes, he's Hukuming's martial brother. They are from the Ping River sect. The Ping River sect is fading and only Hukuming and Liang Qixing remain. Who are Elder Tan and Feng? Yemo thought that since the Hilu sect was going to kill the Yi family people, who else would be able to stop them? Since they were going to stop them, why didn't they do so when they killed 10 people of the Yi family yesterday? Tan and Feng means Tan Jiao and Wan Qi Feng. They came from the hidden sect, but now, they don't belong to the hidden sect. They are in the Heaven Squad. Hong Si said, and then looked at Yemo and could tell he didn't know what Heaven Squad was. He quickly explained again. Heaven Squad means martial artists who have surpassed Earth-level peak stage but can't reach Great Heaven state. They chose to go into the mortal world to seek opportunity to break through Great Heaven. But all the Heaven Squad martial artists must make contributions to the country. They mediate between the hidden sects and the government. They also deal with things normal people can't deal with in the government. But since such things never occurred before, so they usually just need to worry about cultivation. This is because the people in the Heaven Squad need large amount of cultivation resources, and these resources are provided by the government. Yemo understood immediately. They are people who sit on the country's resources but don't do anything and beautify themselves in the name of Heaven Squad. They are really shameless. Thinking that he was running around everywhere in search of spirit things and was almost hunted down for a blood coral at Liangpu. Compared to him, these Heaven Squad people were taking it too easy. Hong Si saw Yemo's face wasn't happy and quickly said, Heaven Squad does do missions as well. They need to go out and search for talented younger generations to prepare human resources for the country. They also need to stay there to prevent the hidden sect from damaging the government. Are there a lot of these people? Surpassed Earth-level peak stage, this means they are halfway Great Heaven state. Hong Si shook his head. Not many. You can count half Great Heaven state people with one hand. It's said the strongest is Wu Dao Qianbei, and Tan and Feng are catching up to Wu Dao Qianbei. So, they are the pinnacle masters of this world. Yemo said coldly. Since there are Tan and Feng here, you still dare to come annihilate the Yi family at Beijing. Hong Si quickly said. It's said that the Hilu sect power exceeds Tan and Feng. And it's said that the elder of Hilu sect Gong Zizai is Tan Jiao's friend. So. Yemo immediately knew what was going on, but his previous guess was right. Han Zixin hid things from him indeed. The country's power was far from what the flying squads showed. There was a Heaven Squad behind them, but they just didn't do much. He also understood why Han Zixin didn't stop the Hilu sect from ravaging the Yi family. It was because he couldn't mobilize the Heaven Squad. And Tan Jiao and Gong Zizai were friends. He killed Gong Zizai. Of course Tan Jiao wasn't happy. Where is Helu's sect? Yemo knew the full story and immediately had killing intent for Tanjiao. Hongxi felt Yemo's killing intent and shook immediately. He quickly replied, "It's located in Xiyang Mountain, Shadow Cliff Valley. Give me the key." Yemo already knew that if you wanted to enter the hidden sect, you needed something like a key. "It's on Elder Chu. Elder Chu already went to Chenin to ambush you." Hongxi didn't dare to hide anything at all. Yemo looked coldly at Hongxi and said indifferently, "Are you going to do it yourself or make me do it?" Hongxi didn't expect that Yemo was still going to kill him after saying so much. He felt all was lost. He really regretted coming to this, but he thought again, even if he didn't come here, Yemo would still find Helu's sect eventually, so it would be the same. Helu's sect was over, but he really didn't want to die like this. He got an ancient martial arts cultivation method before and after he reached yellow level, he dumped his wife and son searching desperately for Tao. He finally found the Helu sect and was able to enter it due to his good potential. After decades of arduous cultivation, he reached Earth level, but he was still going to die here today even though he knelt down and begged for mercy, even though he told the Qianbei everything. "Qianbei," Wanbei offended Qianbei. "It's understandable that Qianbei is going to kill me. Qianbei, please allow me to go back and see the wife and son I haven't seen in a few decades. This is my last hope. As long as I finish this, I will come back to accept death. Before this, Wanbei is willing to destroy my dantian." Then, Hongxi palmed his dantian and spat out blood. With Yemo's eyes, he could tell that Hongxi's dantian was really destroyed. "Brother, this person is quite pitiful. Let him go. And yesterday, he didn't kill anyone." Although Yemo's killing intent for Hongxi didn't change, Yiling softened her heart and wanted Yemo to let him go. For an ancient martial artist whose dantian was destroyed, it didn't even matter if he was dead or not. But because he had such power before, ordinary people still were no match for him. In that case, go. It really didn't matter if he killed Hongxi, who had lost all his power. Hongxi's eyes shot out with surprise and joy. He quickly stood up and thanked. "I'm very grateful to Qianbei for having mercy on me. Wanbei will go back to see my wife and son, then I will come back to accept death." Yemo waved his hand. "Since I let you go, there's no need to come back to accept death." Yi Beirong saw the opportunity and immediately said to Yilong, "Yilong, send Hongxi out." Yiling quickly agreed and took Hongxi and left the meeting room. After he walked past Yemo, the way he looked at Yemo was fearful. "Yemo." Yi Beirong felt his tone was dry. He didn't know how to face this theoretical grandson of his. Yemo said plainly, "I am me. Although my name is also Yi, it has nothing to do with the Beijing Yi family. You don't need to mind me." Yi Beirong opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but he couldn't say a single word for a long time. He knew that the Yi family wronged Yemo, not the other way around. If Yemo didn't rely on himself, he would have died at Ninghai already. So, he had no right to say anything to Yemo. Plus, putting Yi Zifeng as the leader of the family was an obvious attempt to use Yemo. It was already great of him not to be angry over this. Although Yi Zifeng was not bad, he was obviously not eligible to be leader in his 20s, but why was he still family leader? It was all because of Yemo. "Brother, Grandpa He." Yiling wanted to say something but was stopped by Yemo. "Take me to see Yi Zifeng. After this, I'm going to leave here for some business." Yiling was part of the Yi family, and he didn't want to say anything nor change anything, but Yemo had his own principles. Just because he cared about Yi Zifeng and Yiling, it didn't mean he needed to care about the Yi family. Just when Yiling wanted to go, Yemo suddenly pulled her and said, "Wait." Then, he burnt the remaining body to ashes. Yemo just finished clean up and Han Zixin and Zhang Ju rushed in worriedly. "Yemo, you actually came back? How can you come back at this time? Quickly leave. Take your brother and sister. Go now. Leave Beijing as far as possible." Seeing Yemo, Han Zixin dazed for a moment, and quickly urged him to leave. Yemo felt touched. Although Elder Han was a bit calculative, he was quite loyal in times of need. He was also calculative for the country. Zhang Ju also saw Yemo and was very excited. He also came up and said, "At night, the He-Lu sect people are going to come. You really need to leave. They are all Earth-level masters. A casual palm smashed me far away and you are injured." Yemo grabbed Zhang Ju's hand and knew that he was internally injured. Han Zixin sighed. "Yes, Zhang Ju came to help yesterday, but the He-Lu sect people were too strong. Zhang Ju wasn't a match at all. If it wasn't for his status, perhaps he would have died. Elder Tan already said Zifeng and Yiling need to be given to the He-Lu sect to appease their anger, so you should leave quickly." Yemo was immediately triggered. He did the things. Why must Zifeng and Yiling be sent to the He-Lu sect? This Tan bastard doesn't want to live. Humph. A deep sneer sounded. Other than Yemo, everyone felt their mind rupture. Yemo casually patted his sister, and Yiling recovered. A white-robed man whose age could not be told suddenly appeared in the Yi family meeting room. "Since you came back, there's no need for you to go. I'll take you three to the He-Lu sect. Old Han, this time I decide." Hearing the white-robed man's words, Han Zixin's heart sunk. He knew he came late. Yemo could no longer leave now. Zhang Ju felt all hope was lost. He knew that even he wanted to do something to help Yemo, but in front of Elder Tan, it was all pointless. Although other people didn't see how Tan Jiao came, Yemo saw very clearly. He glided in from outside. This martial art was a bit like the wind control Yemo used, but it was inferior to wind control. Although other people didn't see how Tan Jiao came, Yemo saw very clearly. He glided in from outside. This martial art was a bit like the wind control Yemo used, but it was inferior to wind control. Yemo sneered. He wanted to ask where this old fart lived before, but now he sent himself here instead. Before Yemo could talk, another man suddenly entered. He wore gray robes and seemed in his 50s. The gray-robed man stopped Tan Jiao. "Old Tan, the incident is between the He-Lu sect and Yemo. Don't harm his family. I know Gong Zizai is your friend, but even if you want revenge, it should be at Yemo. It has nothing to do with other people." "Zifeng brother, are you going to stop me as well?" Tan Jiao frowned. The gray-robed man sighed. "I'm not stopping you. It's for your good. Yemo is only in his 20s and he can kill 7 of the He-Lu sect people, including Gong Zizai. People say don't insult a young person's poverty. How do you know if he can't reach great heaven later? He's also the head instructor of the Flying Snow. Strictly saying, we're on the same line. Why are you doing things so cruelly? The Yi family is in trouble now. It's very easy for us to help the Yi family. I think if Yemo knew, he would also appreciate it. Even if we don't help, we can't go help others kill his brother and sister." Tan Jiao sneered. "Too bad he doesn't have any chance now, because I'm going to kill him immediately." The gray-robed man just realized that Tan Jiao looked at Yemo full of killing intent. He immediately understood the person in front of him was Yemo, and Yemo had come back. "You are Yemo?" the gray-robed man asked Yemo with some surprise. Yemo was quite famous, and it was his first time seeing this young man. Yemo smiled. "Indeed, I'm Yemo." The gray-robed man had some pity in his eyes. He realized he couldn't even see how strong Yemo was, and Yemo was calm and confident. If Tan Jiao didn't reach great heaven state, he could still stop him, but now, he wasn't even a match for Tan Jiao. How could he stop him? "You killed the He-Lu sect people. I can't help you, but I'll try to persuade old Tan to let go of your brother and sister." Sigh. Luo Qifeng thought, why did you come back? If you didn't, I could still say something and blame everything on you, but since you came back, I really can't say anything. Yemo smiled to Luan Qifeng. "No matter what, I still need to thank Qian Bei for your goodwill. But this old thing." Yemo pointed at Tan Jiao and swore. "Old thing, I didn't do anything to you. What right do you have to touch my brother and my sister? Is it just because you are stronger than other people? Shameless thing. It's over." Han Zixin sighed. Young people really didn't know when to back down. Since Elder Feng came to speak for you, if you spoke some soft words, perhaps Elder Tan would really let you go. But old thing and shameless, when this came out, Han Zixin immediately knew it was over. Wan Qifeng opened his mouth and wanted to say something but couldn't. He finally witnessed the arrogance of Yemo that Tan Jiao was talking about. He actually pointed at a great heaven master and called him old thing. Even if you want to die, you don't have to do it this way. Even if the president came, Tan Jiao would still kill Yemo. Little bastard, you're asking to die. Tan Jiao's face was green. He didn't even think and slapped towards Yemo. He was clearly a few meters away from Yemo, but when he raised his hand, that hand already reached in front of Yemo. Even if Wan Qifeng wanted to stop him, he couldn't. And Yemo cursed Tan Jiao, so he couldn't. Young people had too much temper. It was reasonable to teach him a lesson. Thud. Yemo didn't even move and raised his hand at almost the same time as Tan Jiao. He even took a step forward. Fist and palm clashed, and there was the sound akin to a tire explosion. Stud, stud, stud. Tan Jiao retreated many meters out and finally stopped at the door. He then looked at his burning palm that felt like it was going to break and gazed at Yemo in astonishment. With his great heaven-level power, that palm was blocked by Yemo, and he even was on the lower hand. Was Yemo also great heaven? If Yemo was great heaven and he offended such a young great heaven, Tan Jiao's heart shook. He even felt an absurd terror. But he soon calmed down. He wasn't fully prepared in that attack and didn't even go all out. It was acceptable to be a little on the down hand. But this was still very shocking. It could be seen that Yemo's power wouldn't be lower than Qifeng, perhaps even stronger than him. He really couldn't believe that Yemo was great heaven already. Not only was Tan Jiao shocked, but Wan Qifeng also opened his mouth wide in disbelief. Tan Jiao was great heaven, but Yemo beat him to retreat. How was this possible? He definitely wouldn't believe that Yemo was great heaven at this gi. Although Han Zixin was weak, he could still tell who had the upper hand in that clash. He immediately rejoiced. This Yemo was far out of his expectations. Yemo was also shocked. He didn't think his chi was that much stronger than Tan Jiao. Although it was a little stronger, there wasn't the difference showed in the clash just then. Just then, Tan Jiao rushed his attack while he used his geological advantage. Although he wasn't too clear on Tan Jiao's power level, but with this clash, he knew that Tan Jiao was great heaven level power. He didn't expect this old thing had broken through to great heaven. But Yemo didn't care. Although Tan Jiao was great heaven, his inner chi was inferior to his cultivation essence. When he consolidated his state, Tan Jiao's inner chi was nothing to him. Plus, even in his current situation, it was very simple to kill Tan Jiao. This was the difference between truth/spirit cultivators and martial artists. The later it got, the greater the difference. I didn't think you've already reached half-step great heaven. I underestimated you. But even so, you can't do anything in front of me, Tan Jiao said and wiped his waist. A meter-long whip appeared in his hands. Yemo had seen many whip masters, but it was the first time seeing such a short whip. Yemo sneered and looked at Tan Jiao. In my eyes, killing you is as easy as killing a chicken. Why do you look so highly of yourself? Yemo also shook his head. On Earth, people think they are good just because they reached great heaven state. If this was in the cultivation world, a great heaven master, a simple magic would kill tons of them. Looking at the sky in the well, this was the perfect definition of the Earth great heaven masters. Yemo, you are actually a half-step great heaven master? Han Zixin asked shakily. In his heart, Yemo was so much important that Tan Jiao. If Yemo could cultivate to an extent that he could match against the entire hidden sect, then he wouldn't need to be so respectful to the hidden sect people. He didn't believe Yemo was a part of the hidden sect nor the disciple of a hidden sect master. Although Tan Jiao and Wan Qifeng were still relatively polite to him, he knew that in their heart, the hidden sect was equally important. If the government was going to annihilate the hidden sects, perhaps they would betray. Wan Qifeng was better. He would look at the bigger picture and even value the country's benefits more than the hidden sections. But Tan Jiao was different. In his eyes, they were equally important. Sometimes when he dealt with things, he used a society method rather than a legal method. Wan Qifeng also looked at Yemo with excitement. If Yemo was really halfway great heaven, then he would be really happy. He was different to Tan Jiao. In his heart, the country was so much more important than the hidden sections. Humph, so what even if you're great heaven? As long as I hold you here, the Hilu sect people can still annihilate your family. Tan Jiao sneered. Obviously, he was very unhappy that he was knocked back by that clash. Wan Qifeng suddenly intervened. Old Tan, Yemo is at the same height with us now. We can't let the Hilu sect people touch his family. Tan Jiao felt very uncomfortable, but he was interrupted by Yemo. Hilu sect? I just killed 4 Earth levels. After the Beijing incident is over, the Hilu sect will disappear from the history. There will no longer be the Hilu sect. These 3 words. You killed Hilu sect people again? Tan Jiao's eyes went fierce and took a few steps forward and was about to fight again. Old Tan, hold up. Even if you fight, you can't fight here. It would do cause too much notice, and it revokes the meaning of our hidden sect. Wan Qifeng quickly stopped the angry Tan Jiao. His heart erupted in waves. If what Yemo said was real, he just easily killed 4 Earth-level fighters. This meant that he was no match for Yemo. If Yemo was only halfway great heaven, it would be very hard for him to do this. The only possibility was that Yemo was also great heaven. 2 great heaven grandmasters fighting in the busy city. How terrifying would that be? Okay, you have balls. Come to To Mountain. I will wait for you there. Tan Jiao said and left. He quickly disappeared from the Yi family mansion. He knew that it would cause too much attention if they fought in the Yi family place. Yemo sneered. He knew To Mountain. It was 30 kilometers from Beijing and was a rocky place. There were graves everywhere, and rarely anyone went. He took out a lotus life pill and gave it to Yiling. Yiling, give this to Zifeng to eat. I will be back soon. Then, Yemo just walked a few steps and he was already out of the Yi family mansion. Then, Yiling reacted and quickly called out. Brother, be careful. Wan Qifeng saw Tan Jiao and Yemo leave. He didn't even think and followed out. Yemo was so young and had such power. He couldn't let anything happen to Yemo. Han Zixin's eyes flashed across surprise and joy and immediately said, Zhang Ju, drive the car. We'll also go over. When Yi Beirong caught up to reality, there was only him and Yiling left in the Yi family meeting room. Just when Zhang Ju and Han Zixin walked rapidly out of the Yi family mansion, they saw Yemo standing at the door waiting for them. Just when Zhang Ju and Han Zixin walked rapidly out of the Yi family mansion, they saw Yemo standing at the door waiting for them. Yi brother, you didn't go? Are you going to drive there with us or? Zhang Ju saw Yemo and asked curiously. From the bottom of his heart, he didn't want Yemo to fight Tan Jiao because Tan Jiao was already great heaven. That was a legendary state. No matter how strong Yemo was, he couldn't have reached that state at this age. But he couldn't say such words. As a martial artist, if you are challenged and you don't dare to face up to it, it would be very hard for the martial artist to progress. And he knew Yemo's character as well. Yemo smiled. John brother, I want to help you with your wounds. I was desperate to kill that old thing before and I forgot. Then, Yemo grabbed Zhang Ju's wrist and with his qi, in less than 10 minutes, all the wounds in Zhang Ju's body disappeared. Treating wounds with inner qi, really? Yemo, what level are you at? Zhang Ju looked at Yemo in surprise. Han Zixin on the side also heard Zhang Ju's word and looked at Yemo in bewilderment. It said that the Great Heaven could use their qi to recover wounds. Was Yemo really Great Heaven? I don't know what my current power is now, but we'll talk about this after I kill Tan Jiao, that old fart. Elder Han and Zhang Ju, thanks a lot this time. Yemo really didn't know what his power level was equivalent to, but he was really grateful for Zhang Ju's help. Although Zhang Ju's power level was too low and didn't do much, the fact he stood up for him made Yemo approve of him. Jiang Ju smiled embarrassingly and said, I actually didn't do much. Elder Tan is too strong. Sigh. He thought about the decades of cultivation he has had. Compared to Tan Jiao, it was like a joke. He also felt quite disappointed. Yemo smiled plainly. There's nothing great about that little power of his. Believe yourself. You can soon surpass him. Wait for me to come back. I'm going first. Yemo left Zhang Ju and Han Zixin and immediately stood on the flying sword. A few minutes later, he was already on top of Toa Mountain. More than 10 minutes later, Tan Jiao appeared on the Toa Mountain. He turned back and looked. It was empty. He then sneered. I purposely went a little slow, but I still don't see a shadow of him. I overestimated you. But before he finished, his voice suddenly stopped as though a chicken getting its neck choked. This was because he saw Yemo standing on top of Toa Mountain staring coldly at him. It was obvious that he had been here a long time. You! Tan Jiao was dumbfounded looking at Yemo. His previous exploding confidence wavered and his back felt a little cold. After he reached great heaven, his heart was exploding with confidence and felt like he stood at the pinnacle of the world. This made him unable to accept being challenged by a Xiao Bei. So, he was very angry at Yemo. But now, he didn't even know when Yemo came. He took the shortest route but didn't even see Yemo go passing him. Even if Yemo took the car, it would be the same speed as him. And it wasn't easy going up here with a car. When did you come? Tan Jiao asked powerlessly. His voice was dry. He was suddenly thinking, did he do things right? Yemo sneered. You talk a lot of rubbish. Hurry up and fight. Tan Jiao dumped that question aside and took out his whip again. Even if you're faster than me, so what? Today, I'll show you what a true martial artist is. Then, Tan Jiao's whip carried wave-like patterns and covered the skies, grinding towards Yemo. Yemo looked at Tan Jiao's whip and applauded. Although Tan Jiao was an enemy of him, this old guy's whip technique was really good. Before Tan Jiao, the strongest whip master he had seen was Xian Daoist, but compared to Tan Jiao, that was child's play. After Tan Jiao's whip came out, it turned into lines of waves and appeared ethereal. There wasn't even the sound of it gashing through the air, but the infiltrating killing intent rolled over like a wave. Yemo sighed. If he was still stage 3 now, even at the peak, he would have to run as far as he could from this Tan Jiao. The difference between great heaven and earth level was too great. The difference was greater than earth and black level. Yemo was sure that if his stage 4 wasn't much stronger than his previous stage 4, he really wouldn't be able to do anything to this Tan Jiao, even if he had a flying sword. But now, in Yemo's eyes, Tan Jiao was at most a little troublesome. A purple ray flashed, and Tan Jiao's whip was blocked by Yemo's flying sword. The clash of the weapons made a screeching sound. The whip that was already in a ripple-like state formed solid again. Dang! The whip was slashed away by the flying sword and Tan Jiao also took a few steps back. Tan Jiao was shocked by lightning in his heart. People could only dodge his shadowless whip. No one knew where his whip would strike nor where it was. But Yemo not only could know but also struck his whip away. Even his hand was hurting from the shock. Tan Jiao looked at his whip and dazed. He soon found something that was even more unbelievable. His whip was full of chips. His whip was actually damaged. His whip was made from a rare ore, which even he didn't know what was, with the tendon of a dragon snake in the deep sea. It said that dragon snake would turn into a real dragon in some more years. Although this was a legend, but it was indeed a dragon snake tendon. So, he loved this whip like his life. But in that one bout, his whip was full of scars. Although they weren't deep, it was enough to hurt his heart. Then, Tan Jiao realized a terrifying fact. Just then, Yemo didn't seem to grab his sword with his hand. Could he really control his sword? This was something amongst the legends. Could Yemo do that as well? But soon, the hatred of his damaged whip stopped him from thinking again. He looked at Yemo with insatiable rage. How dare he damage his whip? Yemo looked expressionlessly at Tanjiao, but his mind was focused on Tanjiao's whip. He was sure that whip was made from the best materials. He used his chi essence and his flying sword, but he couldn't even break the whip. He only made a few shallow marks on it. Yemo sneered and sent out his flying sword again. Its speed was more than twice as fast as it was during stage 3. Tanjiao just saw a slab of purple, and that purple dashed towards his throat. Tanjiao suddenly fell into an ice cave and woke up. It was a flying sword. It really was a flying sword. Yemo could control sword telepathically to kill people. He was actually at such a state. Yemo didn't even dare to think anymore. His whip quickly whipped out and clashed with Yemo's flying sword. He was sent back again and again by the sheer force of the flying sword. But Yemo's flying sword was like it was alive and sliced towards Tanjiao's neck at an absurd angle. Yemo was going to behead Tanjiao. Under such shock, Tanjiao no longer dared to be beaten around passively. If this continued, he was going to lose his head sooner or later. He jumped up from the spot and didn't even care about the flying sword. He just whipped down on Yemo's head. He wanted to use a kamikaze on Yemo. Yemo sneered, and in a spurring shadow, he flew up and disappeared tens of meters out. His flying sword carried a bloody mist, and it spun around before appearing on top of Yemo's head. Rumble! Tanjiao's whip smashed into the ground where Yemo stood before. A mere meter-long whip actually smashed out a 10-meter wide and 3-meter deep ravine. But Tanjiao's stomach had a deep gash slashed out by Yemo's flying sword. If he didn't jump a little higher before, Yemo's sword would have cut open his stomach. "You like acting cocky, huh?" Yemo sneered again, and the flying sword above his head seemed to be getting bigger. At the same time, it tore apart the air, breaking the speed of sound, and smashed towards Tanjiao. Tanjiao saw this big purple mass smash towards him, and his heart immediately sunk to the bottom. He just realized that Yemo wasn't even fighting with full power before. This Yemo was too terrifying. He was not only not a match for him, but far inferior to him. But no matter what Tanjiao thought, Yemo's flying sword slashed down like a huge door. Tanjiao gathered all his chi and smashed his whip towards that purple mass. Bang! Rumble! Tanjiao's whip was sliced apart, and his body was smashed out more than 40 meters again by the huge explosion and flying rocks. Where he stood before was a 13-meter deep ravine decimated by Yemo's flying sword. Tanjiao fell down far away and smashed onto rubbles, constantly spitting blood. If his whip didn't block Yemo's sword, he would have been a dead body now. Yemo waved, and the flying sword landed in his hand. He looked coldly at Tanjiao and walked over slowly. He knew that also Great Heaven Master was not bad, but was no match for him right now. But he also knew that this Tanjiao wasn't someone strong amongst Great Heaven Masters. Perhaps he just reached Great Heaven. Seeing Yemo walk over slowly, Tanjiao's heart was like dead ashes. He didn't think that his Great Heaven power was no match for Yemo. Although he hadn't consolidated his state yet, he had great confidence reaching such power level. In his eyes, other people were insects, but now, he realized who the insect was. He thought he could kill Yemo easily, but he didn't. Tanjiao still couldn't believe that he had lost, and so utterly. He still felt that Yemo didn't fight at full power. What power state was Yemo at? He could control the sword with his will? He thought he could kill Yemo easily, but he didn't. Tanjiao still couldn't believe that he had lost, and so utterly. He still felt that Yemo didn't fight at full power. What power state was Yemo at? He could control the sword with his will? Tanjiao stared at the sword in Yemo's hand. For the first time, he felt regret. He didn't expect to be killed immediately as soon as he reached the peak of the world, and by someone so young. He remembered Wan Qingfeng's words. "Don't insult a young man's poverty." Yemo didn't need to be insulted, he had already surpassed him. If he had some more time, probably even the inner hidden sect people would be no match for him. "Please have mercy." A grey figure quickly stopped in front of Tanjiao. It was Wan Qingfeng. Although he stopped Yemo, his heart was ruptured with astonishment. He didn't expect that Tan Jiao was actually no match for Yemo. They even settled the score so quickly and he didn't even see the fight. Funny how he had thought about how to let Old Tan let Yemo go. Now, it wasn't if Old Tan would let Yemo go but if Yemo would let Old Tan go. Yemo sneered. Wan Qianbei, do you think I will let him go? He dares to kill my brother and sister, and I will have mercy on him? Tan bastard, you're lucky that I'm only killing you today. If I came back a little late, and you touched Yiling and Zifeng, wherever you come from, I will erase that place to the ground. Tan Jiao shook. He knew that Yemo wasn't lying. He really had such power. If he died, that was it. But if Yemo also annihilated his home sect, then he would be the sinner of his sect. Yemo, on account of me and Old Han, please let Old Tan go. These years, Old Tan did quite some things for the country. Wan Qingfeng knew that he must not let Yemo kill Tan Jiao. If Yemo did, then the conflict between the hidden sects and the country would erupt. After all, Old Tan was killed in the Heaven Squad and the person was the instructor of the Flying Snow. Plus, Tan Jiao reached Great Heaven State. This was significant for both the country and the hidden sections. If a Great Heaven Master was killed like this, it would be such a loss. Tan Jiao didn't speak. He was full of regret. He was a good friend of Gong Zizai. Years ago, Song Yuanyu gave him a strange ore that allowed him to make his whip. Thus, he owed Song Yuanyu. Plus, he reached Great Heaven and he was arrogant, so he thought anyone who wasn't Great Heaven wasn't worth anything. But today, he finally realized that even reaching Great Heaven, he was only so-so. He was still someone whom Yemo could kill at any time. His extreme arrogance of reaching Great Heaven disappeared without a trace and his thinking became logical again. At least he could realize that if the Hilu sect people didn't try to rob the blood coral from Yemo, how could they be killed by Yemo? It was all because he thought of Yemo as an insect before and an insect was not worth of it for him to consider right or wrong. Yemo shook his head. Sorry, Wan Qianbei. Please move aside. I must kill this person. Wan Qingfeng suddenly took a step forward. If you're going to kill Old Tan, then please kill me as well. If you let Old Tan go this time, I, Wan Qifeng, swear to the heavens that as long as I'm in Beijing one day, I will make sure the Yi family is safe. Yemo was moved. He couldn't always stay at Beijing. Although he could annihilate the Hilu sect, there were many people in the hidden sections. Who knows if some would hate him? If during the time he wasn't at Beijing, something happened to Yiling and Zifeng, then he wouldn't even be able to regret. Plus, even if he could get revenge in the end, would the loss come back? But he really didn't want to let Tan Jiao go like that. Although he knew that his sword chi had entered Tan Jiao's Dan Tian, making him unable to progress in the future at all. But even if he stayed where he was still a Great Heaven-level master. He was worried letting such a person stay in Beijing. Tan Jiao really didn't want to die like that. He just reached Great Heaven and didn't even have time to experience the joy and changes in Great Heaven, and he was going to die here. Now that Wan Qingfeng said something and Yemo seemed hesitant, he immediately had some hope. Old Tan, it's just a misunderstanding between you and Yemo. You should apologize. Wan Qingfeng saw Yemo's concerns. He knew that Yemo offended too many people, and if he was outside, he would worry about his family members. Tan Jiao thought whatever, this was his only chance. He could no longer care about his face and immediately said, I Tan Jiao swear that if I still live on today, I will not let the hidden sex people do as they please in Beijing. I will also support Qingfeng's idea. If I revoke this oath, let the heavens and earth perish me. Yemo sneered. This old thing still wanted his face making an oath. He didn't say protect the Yi family but instead said protect Beijing and support Qingfeng. But Yemo didn't point this out because he did some concerns indeed. It was simple for him to kill Tan Jiao now, but if he did, Wan Qifeng would feel uncomfortable. If someone came to ravage the Yi family, he wouldn't do anything. Although Zhang Ju was not bad, he was still far inferior compared to the hidden sect masters. And he couldn't stay by Yiling and Zifeng all the time. Was he meant to send his brother and sister to the hidden sects as well? This wasn't realistic. Even if it was, since the hidden sect people could find them in Beijing, they could find serenity as well. If he satisfied himself in the short term killing Tan Jiao, it wasn't worth it. Thinking about serenity, Yemo immediately thought about Tang Beiwei. He should go see her soon. Yemo, please believe old Tan and me. I'm sure that when you're not in Beijing, as long as I and old Tan are here, the Yi family would be perfectly fine. There definitely wouldn't be such thing happening again. Old Tan was just too impulsive after hearing his old friend being killed as soon as he left solitary training. Wan Qingfeng quickly supplemented. Yemo looked coldly at Tan Jiao. Okay, since Qingfeng Qianbei said this, I'll stop here. But if something happens to my brother and sister again, then don't blame me. Although it was satisfying killing Tan Jiao now, Yemo couldn't establish this satisfaction on the safety of his siblings. With two such masters sitting in Beijing, it was much better than him thinking about them all the time. And Tan Jiao was infused with his sword qi. He wouldn't help him resolve it. Tan Jiao's power would only decrease, not increase. Then, Yemo took a step out and disappeared without a trace. Of course, he did this purposefully to make Wan Qifeng and Tan Jiao not dare to go back on their words. It was just an invisibility magic, and he stood on his flying sword and left. Wan Qifeng and Tan Jiao looked at where Yemo disappeared and opened their mouths wide open in shock. They couldn't say a word for a very long time. Did he surpass great heaven? I've never heard ancient martial arts have such means. This is too. Wan Qifeng stuttered to find a word to describe Yemo's actions. Tan Jiao also looked dumbly at where Yemo left. He finally understood that Yemo didn't fight with him at full power at all. With the way Yemo left, he was more certain that Yemo had surpassed great heaven. Was he the being amongst the legends? Old Tan, let's talk when we go back. This Yemo isn't simple. Wan Qingfeng sighed. Elder Tan, Elder Feng, are you here? Hasn't Yemo come yet? Although Han Zixin's status was very high, he still needed to be polite in front of Tan Jiao and Wan Qifeng. He and Zhang Ju just arrived. Wan Qifeng smiled bitterly and said, Yemo has come and gone. Han Zixin saw the two deep ravines on the ground and guessed that the two had already fought. He subconsciously said, Yemo helped Zhang Ju treat his wounds and was put behind 10 minutes. I thought he wasn't here yet. I didn't expect him to have left already. What? You said Yemo used 10 minutes to treat Zhang Ju before he came? Tan Jiao asked in surprise. Han Zixin nodded. Yes, he came after treating Zhang Ju. However, I didn't think we wouldn't make it since we drove immediately. Luckily nothing happened, otherwise the loss would be big. Tan Jiao was in even more disbelief. Yemo started off 10 minutes later than him and still arrived before him. What did this mean? No matter power or speed, they weren't on the same level. Brother, you're back. Yiling walked into the yard and saw Yemo come in. She immediately ran over and let out a long sigh of relief. She heard her grandpa say that the person who was fighting Yemo was quite possible the legendary Heaven Squad. So, she was very worried, and when she saw Yemo come back now, she finally felt relieved. Yemo patted her head and said, Let's go see Zifeng. Zifeng ate the pill Yiling gave and was obviously recovering fast. He was very happy to see Yemo. He heard a lot about Yemo from Yiling. Yemo helped check Zifeng's leg again. With the Lotus Life pill, there shouldn't be any problems. But because Zifeng wasn't a qi cultivator, he needed a week to recover. Big brother, I wasn't able to help you much at Ninghai. Thank you this time. Zifeng had always been nice to Yemo, and he knew that the only reason Yemo was willing to come back and help the Yi family this time was due to him and Yiling. He wasn't an idiot. He could also tell the reason Grandpa let him be the family leader, but he didn't reject it. It was because he really did want to lead the Yi family to glory, bringing them to a new level. Big brother, I wasn't able to help you much at Ninghai. Thank you this time. Zifeng had always been nice to Yemo, and he knew that the only reason Yemo was willing to come back and help the Yi family this time was due to him and Yiling. he wasn't an idiot. He could also tell the reason Grandpa let him be the family leader, but he didn't reject it. It was because he really did want to lead the Yi family to glory, bringing them to a new level. Yemo waved his hand. We're brothers. No need to say that. Plus, when I was studying at Ninghai, you helped me a lot. Especially when I left, you told Wang Ying to give me that 20K. I had no money on me at all at the time. That 20K helped me a lot. And in the future, I won't be coming back to Beijing a lot. If there's anything, you can ask Shangju for help. Yemo really felt emotional. When he first woke up, he didn't even have the money to eat food. If it wasn't Wang Ying who brought him 20K, it would be really hard for him. Without that money, he wouldn't be able to reach stage 1 Qi gathering. Without reaching stage 1, he wouldn't be able to sell charms, and without that, he would have no source of income. So, it could be said that Yi Zifeng's 20K gave Yemo the basis to survive in this world. Yiling heard this and her eyes went red. She thought of all ways to protect Yemo, and in order not to let people know, she even intentionally hated him and kept trying to start up trouble with Yemo and Yi Zifeng. Her little money was all tricked by her opponents. If Yemo didn't come back to Beijing in time, she wouldn't dare to think what state she would be in. Now, reflecting on how Yemo lived at Ninghai by himself without food to eat, she felt really bad. She really was too naive before. Yemo saw Yiling's face and could tell what she was thinking about. He immediately held her hand and said, Ling, you don't need to blame yourself. Your intention was good. You were used by people only because you had no social experience. From now on, think before you do and listen to Zifeng. At this moment, being with her brothers, Yiling experienced a long-lost feeling. It was the feeling of family. With family members, there was family. Yi Zifeng dazed and said, Big brother, I told Wang Ying to give you money many times, but at that time, I didn't have much myself. At most, I sent out 1 or 2K. I never brought you 20K. Yemo was also surprised. Zifeng didn't give this to him, but who else would be kind enough to give him money other than his siblings? Brother, could it be that Wang Ying liked you and gave it to you herself? Yiling suddenly said. Yemo smiled and patted Yiling's head. Don't be so nosy. It would be strange if Wang Ying would like me. He thought of that carefree Wang Ying. She could say anything in front of him. If she really liked him, she wouldn't say that Zifeng gave him the 20K but say it was her. I'll ask her when I go back then. Zifeng, get some more rest. I will leave tonight. It might be a while before I come back. As for Ling, I will refine your necklace and bracelet later. Yemo saw the dim necklace on Yiling's neck. Although it could defend, it can't block half an attack from an Earth-level master. As soon as Yemo said that, the Yi family mansion suddenly seemed busy. People kept coming to greet and visit. Yemo didn't know who these people were, but he guessed that they were probably the power circle of Beijing. These people's ears were really good. He just taught Helu's sect in Tanjiao a lesson, and these people got the news. Zhang Ju is here. Yiling, open the door for him. Yemo's spirit sense had scanned Zhang Ju outside. Yiling opened the door, and indeed saw Zhang Ju outside. Yemo, are you really Great Heaven? Even Elder Tan was no match for you. You're really. Zhang Ju looked at Yiling and Yi Zifeng, who looked at him in shock. He stopped embarrassingly and scratched his head. Yemo smiled. Great Heaven? I really don't know myself, but it doesn't matter. Zhang Ju, when I'm not in Beijing, I might have to trouble you to take care of Yiling and Zifeng. Zhang Ju immediately patted his chest and said, Don't worry. As long as I'm here, I won't let anyone bully Yiling and Zifeng. Yemo nodded and gave a chi-increasing pill to Zhang Ju and said, This pill can at least let you reach black level tertiary stage from your black level primary stage. If you eat this at black level tertiary stage, it can make you reach earth level. Zhang Ju grabbed the pill as though it was some great treasure. He looked at it and exclaimed, It's that powerful? Is it the spirit pill of the legends? Now, he knew that Yemo might really be a great heaven master and wouldn't doubt at all the things Yemo gave him. Spirit pill? Yemo almost laughed. She increasing pill was possibly the lowest grade pill of the entire cultivation realm, but someone called it spirit pill. If this got out, people would laugh out their teeth. Zhang Ju looked at the phone in his belt and said, "I'm going back. I'll come drink with you later." Yemo waved his hand and said, "I'm going to leave Beijing soon. Greet Elder Han for me. Tell him that I will help him find the thing. By the way, how is the woman Han Yin brought back last time?" Yemo was asking about Wendong. Zhang Ju quickly said, "She's fine. She recovered very quickly as well." That snow lotus seed was really a good thing, but your means are quite impressive. After she got well, she left with the Feng Tian who came to see her. I don't know where they went exactly, but Han Yen knew and she sent them two away. Hearing that she was fine, Yemo felt relieved. Yemo didn't really care where she went. He decided to save her life because she was loyal. Even though she was about to be interrogated to death, she didn't want to spill his information. Yiling wanted to ask about Ning Qingxue, but Zhang Ju was here and it was not convenient to ask. Now that Zhang Ju had left, she immediately asked, "Brother, how is Qingxue now? Have you visited her yet?" Yemo didn't want to mention Qingxue, but now that Yiling asked, he felt a little gloomy. "Yeah, how was she now?" "What's wrong, brother? Did something happen between you and Qingxue's sister?" Yiling didn't know that Ning Qingxue had lost her memory. Yemo shook his head and said, "Nothing. After things here are over, I will go see her." Yiling could tell that Yemo was hiding something, but since her brother said that, she couldn't really ask anymore. Can I go see her?" Yemo immediately waved his hand. "No need. Don't leave Beijing during this time. Wait till I come back." At this time, it was safest for her to stay in Beijing. After helping Yiling and Zifeng repair their protection artifacts, Yemo left the mansion. Although he was well known amongst the hierarchy of Beijing, he really didn't know Beijing very well. He just asked Yiling and now know that Wang Ling worked at her family's company. Other than coming to thank her, he also needed to ask who gave him the 20K. When Yemo got to the road, he found that there was a bar on the busy road. The bar was called Drunk Eye Bar. The reason he noticed this bar was because he felt this bar was familiar. He seemed to have come here before. Yemo quickly remembered that he had been to this bar indeed. When he first came to Beijing, Nie Shuangshuang invited him to this bar. And Nie Shuangshuang killed 2 people at this bar. Yemo stopped her when she was taking off her clothes and forced her to swear that she wouldn't have any ill will towards Yiling. However, when Nie Shuangshuang left the sentence, she said, "I'm still a virgin." Yemo still didn't understand what it meant now. He didn't know why Nie Shuangshuang said that before she left, but he felt that Nie Shuangshuang was very eerie. It was just like Nie Wubian he killed and that red-robed woman in Chunnan. They all had common characteristics, eerie, bleak and cruel. Yemo shook his head, but that Nie Shuangshuang kept her promise and didn't do anything to Yiling. After he walked past Drunk Eye Bar, he scanned his spirit sense in casually, and was surprised to find that Nie Shuangshuang was actually sitting inside the bar. She sat in the exact same position as when they met up. It seemed like she had been sitting there for a long time. What was this woman doing here? He wouldn't believe it if she fell in love with him just seeing him twice and came here to reminisce. He saw with his own eyes how evil this woman was. He saw her indifference when she killed. And her words, "I'm still a virgin." Although he didn't believe that she was, he didn't understand why she would say that. Yemo noticed that bleak and evil chi on her was gone, and her inner chi was unstable, her face was pale. It was obvious she was heavily injured. She had such heavy wounds, why didn't she go treat it? Why was she drinking here? Yemo immediately felt strange. Why did she change her cultivation method? If she didn't, why was the chi on her completely different from last time? When Yemo saw Nie Wubian, he suspected that she was also the 9 Moon sect disciple. Now that he saw her, the bleak chi was gone, and this was quite suspicious. Just when Yemo wanted to go in and ask if she was a member of that sect, a sliver of cruelty appeared on her face as she stood up abruptly. Yemo watched as Nie Shuangshuang left the drunk-eyed bar and followed without thinking. He wanted to see what this woman was doing. Yemo followed, but he didn't go far before he was stopped. Yemo followed, but he didn't go far before he was stopped. "You are Yemo?" the person stopping him asked uncertainly. Yemo looked at the woman in front of him and realized it was the person he was coming to see today. It seemed that she looked at him for quite a while before stopping him, but because Yemo changed so much that she wasn't certain. Seeing it was Wang Ying, Yemo immediately smiled. "Yeah, I'm Yemo, but I came for some business with you today." "You really are Yemo, you've changed so much. I don't even recognize you. Last time I heard Yiling talk about you. You actually came to Beijing?" Wang Ying called out with surprised joy. Although Yemo was well known, she hadn't heard of what he had done, and neither had a lot of people. It was because the people she was connected to were in a whole different league to the people Yemo was associated to. And Yiling didn't tell things about Yemo to Wang Ying. "By the way, you said you were looking for me, what for? But Yemo, I haven't seen you for more than a year and you've become so handsome. Did that Ning Qingxue dump you? How about to let me be your girlfriend?" Wang Ying was still so carefree, but Yemo finally felt some familiarity. "Nothing important. When I was at Ninghai Uni, you helped me a lot, so I came to thank you. As for girlfriend, never mind, I can't afford a rich girl like you." Wang Ying waved her hand generously. "It's nothing. Don't mention it. Let's go, big sis will treat you to a big meal." Then, Wang Ying pulled Yemo and called a taxi. She then turned to look at Yemo. "Don't think that I don't have a car. I'm about to buy a car soon. If you don't have anywhere else to go, just stay in Beijing with me. I'll find you something." Wang Ying was being genuine. She knew that Yemo wasn't welcomed in the Yi family and knew that he didn't have any good connections. She was purely trying to help him. Yemo suddenly remembered about Nie Shuangshuang and scanned his spirit sense out, but he couldn't see anything. Normally, Yemo would be grateful to Wang Ying treating him to food and would go, but today, he had a lot of things to do, so he could only reject. "Wang Ying, let's go. Why are you still here? Let's go Luo Luo tonight. I'm telling you that Qi Xianfeng will also be going." At this moment, a woman came out of the office building behind Wang Ying and said. She subconsciously looked at Yemo and Wang Ying, wondering what relationship they were and who Yemo was. Wang Ying immediately rejoiced. "Really, you're saying that Qi Xianfeng will really go tonight? Pfft, why would I lie to you?" Wang Ying said apologetically to Yemo. "Sorry, I can't invite you to dinner tonight. Next time. This is my number. Remember to call me. Shanshan, let's go together." Yemo took the name card and said, "It's fine, next time then. But by the way, I want to ask, that last time you gave me 20K, who told you do so?" "It's Li Mumei. I'm going, Yemo." Then Wang Ying and that woman got on the car and disappeared. "It was Li Mumei?" Yemo repeated, but he soon understood that Li Mumei wouldn't give him money. The only possibility was that Ning Qingxue told her to do so. Although he knew that Ning Qingxue was using him as a shield and that 20K was to compensate for that, Yemo was very grateful. To Yemo, he didn't lose out on anything and he really needed money at the time. If he didn't have any more contact with Ning Qingxue later on, he would at most thank her, but now, it reignited his reminiscence for Ning Qingxue. "Qingxue." Yemo murmured and remembered the one at Shenongjia di Toa Peak. A girl who risked her life to find him. How could she forget him? How could she be so heartless? Did she not have any memories at all? Yemo no longer had the mood to look for Nie Shuangshuang. He wandered cluelessly at the streets of Beijing when reminiscing all the relevant event details of Shenongjia, bottom of the cliff. He thought about that small silver heart grass in that yard in Ninghai and that blood stain on the silver heart grass. "Perhaps I should go back to Ninghai to have a look," Yemo murmured again. Yemo didn't know how long he had walked for when the crowd ahead interrupted his thought for Ning Qingxue. He found that he already came by the Yan River unknowingly. The Yan River and Miyang Lake of Beijing didn't intersect. They were two famous sites. Those living around the Miyang Lake were all the wealthy and powerful, so it was also called the Wealthy Lake. Meanwhile, there were very little people around the Yen River. Those who lived here were usually outsiders. Although it didn't have the name of Poverty Lake, it wasn't much different. At this moment, Yemo came to the Yen River and the people were gathered around a dead body. Yemo scanned his spirit sense. It was a youth in his 20s. His face was gray, but what was scary was that his eyes weren't closed, and his terrified expression remained on his face. "Ah, Yemo, it's you. I'm Xiaolei. Do you remember me?" A female journalist yelled in joy and walked rapidly to Yemo. Yemo saw Xiaolei, who was a little skinny, and remembered how she went to Flowing Snake and Shenong Jia alone to interview and couldn't help to laugh. "Of course I remember. Are you the great journalist Xiao who's always first to run to the front line? I didn't think you would be covering such a small incident." Xiaolei's face seemed a little sad, but she soon recovered. "This isn't small. This man is the sixth that died in Beijing. Everyone died the same way." Terrified expression. "I've followed the crime squad for more than a month, but we have no leads at all. Sai, let's not talk about this. Are you free tonight?" "Tonight?" Yemo hesitated and said, "I'm leaving Beijing tonight, so I'm not free." "Oh." Xiaolei had some disappointment on her face. She finally met Yemo, but Yemo said he wasn't free. She looked hesitantly at Yemo and said, "Yemo, I just want to treat you to dinner once. I'm very grateful for last time, so—" Yemo smiled. "No need, haha. You already did last time we went to Shenongjia. Next time, I will treat you to dinner, but I'm really busy today." Xiaolei. There were already people in the crowd calling for her. Xiaolei looked helplessly at Yemo. "Okay then, next time, but you must not say you're busy again next time." Yemo stared at Xiaolei for a long time until Xiaolei started blushing before he suddenly said to her, "Give me your hand to me." "Huh?" Xiaolei hesitated for a long time and looked at Yemo in confusion. Yemo laughed awkwardly. "Sorry, I was too straightforward. Did you notice where the people usually die?" Xiaolei looked around nervously and suddenly reached out her hand in front of Yemo. "It's fine here." It was as though her hand was just a thing that she could give to Yemo. Yemo didn't reject, but he didn't grab her hand. Instead, he grabbed her wrist. Xiaolei blushed and wanted to struggle. She didn't understand why Yemo did this. In her impression, Yemo was a very traditional person. Even if there weren't people here, he wouldn't do such thing, much less with so many people. Yemo's spirit sense felt that there were large amounts of bleak qi inside Xiaolei's body, just like Shuiyang qi before. He immediately knew that Xiaolei was invaded by this bleak qi. If this continued to increase, she would die sooner or later. Even if it didn't, she would be very sick. Since he encountered it, and it was someone he knew, Yemo didn't mind helping her. If she didn't agree to give her hand out, then never mind. Xiaolei wasn't Shuiyang qi. Shuiyang qi was Shuaigua's niece, so he would help. If Xiaolei didn't reach out her hand, he wouldn't help her. The bleak qi was soon forced out of her body by Yemo. Xiaolei also felt she seemed to be more energetic and light. At this moment, he realized that Yemo seemed to be treating her. When Yemo let go, she immediately asked, "Yemo, is there something wrong with me?" Yemo nodded. "Yes, try to avoid touching these bodies. These bodies just died and they have some bleak qi on them. After you touch them, this deathly bleakness will invade your body. Once or twice is fine, but you must have arrived the scenes first every time. If this continues and if your immunity is weak, then you would become very sick or might even die." "Huh?" Xiaolei dazed for a long time before saying, "No wonder recently I kept feeling sick, and after what you did to me just now, I seem to feel a lot lighter. So that's it. You saved me again. Thank you, Yemo." Yemo frowned. He just found some leads and immediately turned to Xiaolei and said, "You're welcome. We'll talk next time. I have business to do." Xiaolei watched as Yemo walked off and felt lost. She knew that this man didn't belong to her. Although she knew this man was very excellent, but what use was that? Xiaolei watched as Yemo walked off and felt lost. She knew that this man didn't belong to her. Although she knew this man was very excellent, but what use was that? Yemo felt the direction that the frost chief flowed and chased up without hesitation. He was thinking whether or not Nie Shuangshuang did this. After all, not long ago, he saw Nie Shuangshuang. And the bleakness he felt in Xiao Lei's body was very similar to the bleakness in Zhui Yangqing. An hour later, the sun had fallen completely. Yemo found his target in an empty patch of land. It was a man in his 40s. His face was very long and his bleak chi was even more dense than Nie Wubian. He wore white clothes and stood in the barren land in the middle of the night like a ghost. Not Nie Shuangshuang? Just when Yemo was thinking, he saw Nie Shuangshuang walk over. She was also here as well, but was outside of his spirit sense range before. Shuangshuang, give me the thing, then I won't take your life. The man saw Nie Shuangshuang and his face calmed down a little and said softly. But his voice wasn't soft, and was very sharp instead. Nie Shuangshuang sneered. Nie Pai, stop dreaming. My Luan Luan has been robbed. Even if it's still here, I won't give it to you. Under the night sky, Nie Shuangshuang's pale face seemed paler under the moonlight. Humph, Nie Shuangshuang, you will give it to me today no matter what. If I didn't see you at Beijing this time, I would have thought you were cultivating the same cultivation method as the 9-moon method. But now I understand that you switch secretly. Don't think I can't tell that you're a virgin? If you cultivate our way, you can remain a virgin. The long-faced man sneered and seemed vicious as he glared at Nie Shuangshuang's pale face. Seeing that Nie Shuangshuang shut her mouth tightly and didn't say anything, he sneered. I'll give you an option. Give me the thing and also give me your red pill. Other than that, stay with me for a year. I can keep this secret for you. Otherwise, don't blame me. Yemo frowned as he listened. He didn't understand a sentence of it. But he saw Nie Shuangshuang kill the two men at the drunk-eye bar with his own eyes and pulled her skirt open. He definitely wouldn't believe that Nie Shuangshuang was a virgin. But from this man's words, Nie Shuangshuang really was a virgin. How could this be? I can give it to you. Nie Shuangshuang walked a few steps forward and was going to pull off her clothes again. The long-faced man smiled and didn't move. When Nie Shuangshuang finished that sentence, two bright beams of light suddenly shot out of her clothes like laser towards the man's forehead and throat. Yemo immediately recognized the two beams. It was the two long needles he saw Nie Shuangshuang use to kill. Nie Shuangshuang could actually use them as projectiles to take this man by surprise. It could be seen that she spent a lot of efforts on that. But Yemo knew that Nie Shuangshuang was wasting her effort because this man was Earth level and Nie Shuangshuang wasn't even Yellow level middle stage. There was no way she could take out an Earth level by surprise. As expected, the man just waved his hand and the two needles fell into his hands. He played with the needles and said plainly, Shuangshuang, don't play your little tricks in front of your big martial brother. Wubian and Red Robes have been killed. Before Red Robes died, she sent the message that the person who killed her was the person who killed Wubian. I investigated. He's called Yemo. You should know him, right? Seeing Nie Shuangshuang still refusing to talk, the man sneered. Take me to find Yemo. I will let him understand that no one can kill our 9-moon sect's disciples. Then sleep with me for a year or so and perhaps I'll let you go. You want me to help you find Yemo? Keep dreaming. You Shimao want woman? Are you even able? You want woman, wait for your next life. Nie Shuangshuang stared coldly at this man. Her eyes were full of anger and ridicule. You're asking for it. This man suddenly jumped up and kicked onto Nie Shuangshuang's chest. Nie Shuangshuang flew out more than 10 meters and spat blood in the air. Then, she fell to the ground and could no longer move. Yemo knew that Nie Shuangshuang probably wasn't going to live after that kick. Just when he wanted to go over, this man seemed to have noticed something and suddenly sprung up and was about to dart away. Yemo dazed. He thought that since this man was looking for him, he wouldn't run away even when he came. Otherwise, why would this man still be looking for him? However, this man was trying to escape and he wouldn't let that happen. The purple flying sword caught up to the man rapidly and turned into a purple death ray. Yemo wanted to slice off his legs as he still needed to ask the man some questions. The man's legs were cut off, but he didn't stop. He flew out a few more meters and fell into the Yen River. Blood spread across the surface of the river and quickly disappeared. Yemo followed out with his spirit sense, but he didn't find any trace of the man. Looking at the two legs, Yemo frowned and thought he was too careless. He didn't expect this guy to be this good at running. But luckily he cut off his legs. Yemo followed along the river and still had no leads. So, he could only return to the place where the fight took place. On the ground, dark red blood seeped out from the two legs. Yemo burned them casually with a fireball, but he was thinking, this Nine Moon sect really had a whole spectrum of arts. Yemo was sure that with the way Nyepai was running, even Tanjiao wasn't able to catch up to him, much less normal Earth levels. If Yemo wasn't careless at the start, the man wouldn't have gotten away for sure, but he used Yemo's carelessness to escape despite losing his legs. Yemo went by Nie Shuangshuang and scanned his spirit sense. He was sure that if he didn't rescue her, she would be dead for sure. Her internal injuries were too severe. Yemo shook his head. Although he didn't know the exact locations of the Nine Moon sect, he was sure he could find it. There was no need to ask Nie Shuangshuang. Since she was going to die, then let her be. Yemo turned around. Although he didn't want to save Nie Shuangshuang, he didn't want to watch her die either. The best thing to do was pretend he didn't see anything. Wait! Nie Shuangshuang's voice was so weak that it almost couldn't be heard. She seemed to have seen someone in front of her. Although the figure was very blurry, she was sure it wasn't her big martial brother Nyepai. But now, she didn't want to think who this person was. Yemo looked coldly at Nie Shuangshuang and didn't speak. Nie Shuangshuang didn't even look up and took out a letter and gave it to Yemo. Please give this to Yemo. Tell him the Nine Moon sect people want to kill him. Tell him to run. Nie Shuangshuang didn't even finish and suddenly spouted out more blood and then banged her head back on the ground. Her hands slunk down powerlessly and the letter became red in her hands. Yemo took the letter with surprise. He glanced at the unconscious Nie Shuangshuang and opened the letter. Yemo, sorry that I hid things from you. I thought about things later and I'm sure that you're an ancient martial arts cultivator. I'm actually also an ancient marital arts cultivator, but the sect I came from is the Nine Moon sect. Because the cultivation methods they practice are so evil, the outer hidden sects do not allow the Nine Moon sect to join them. So now, despite being a lot stronger than many outer hidden sects, the Nine Moon sect can only be called semi-hidden sect. You will ask me why would I treat you differently after only seeing you twice. It's because you have this chi on you that will dissipate this killing intent on me and also reduce the bleak poison in my body. Although I came from the Nine Moon sect, I didn't cultivate their cultivation method, but no one knew that. It's because I have a pet called Wan Wan. Wan Wan can cultivate the Nine Moon sect cultivation method. It needs to digest the spirit and yin chi of dead people. And he can also change into anything. So usually, I put him in a pocket because if my master knew that I didn't cultivate the Nine Moon sect way, I would be killed immediately. But as Wan Wan got stronger and stronger, I could no longer control it. I felt it would usurp me at any time, and I'm also feeling a stronger and stronger desire for blood. I'm very scared. I felt the bleak and poisonous chi on me was getting denser and denser. Perhaps eventually, without Wan Wan to consume me, I would be already dead. But then later I met you. Standing by you, I felt you were different to other ancient martial artists. Yuchi could make me give up the urge to kill and dispel the bleak chi on me. I invited you to a date. This was the first time I genuinely dated a man. But in your eyes, I saw disgust and hatred. I hated myself. I was very sad. After leaving you, I cried for a week. Then I chose to leave Beijing. I tried to control myself from killing for no reason because I don't want to see the disgust in your eyes. Because I stopped killing people, I finally couldn't control Wan Wan. Luan Luan left, but it remembered that I fed it, and raised him so it didn't devour me. Luan Luan left. I fell sick. Although it didn't devour me, I was heavily invaded by the bleak chi since I kept Luan Luan without cultivating the 9 moon sect way before. I knew my life was at an end. I didn't go find Luan Luan, either did I dare to return to the 9 moon sect. So, I came back to Beijing again. I wanted to see you, even just once. So, I often sat at Drunk Eye Bar waiting for you, waiting for a miracle. The letter was unfinished. It just ended there. Yemo saw the unfinished letter and sighed. No wonder Nie Shuangshuang said she was still a virgin. It was because she saw the disgust in his eyes. She said that just to prove something. Yemo saw the unfinished letter and sighed. No wonder Nie Shuangshuang said she was still a virgin. It was because she saw the disgust in his eyes. She said that just to prove something. No wonder when he first saw her, she had this bleak and strange chi on her. It was her pet, a pet that devoured spirits. If her pet just devoured a male soul and hadn't fully digested it, then she would have that strange chi indeed. It seemed that everything you saw wasn't always true. When he saw her pull open her skirt, it was just her letting out her pet to devour spirits. There was actually such a thing that could change into something like the environment and ascend through devouring human spirits. If this thing was in the cultivation realm, it would be fought over by countless people, but on Earth, it was a disaster. Yemo looked at the unconscious Nie Shuangshuang as his heart battled intensely over whether or not to save her life. Never mind, he still had 3 Lotus Life pills anyways. Seeing that you risked your life to notify me about the 9 moon sect, I'll feed you one. As for whether you live or die, that will depend on your luck. Yemo took out a Lotus Life pill and put it in her mouth. The pill immediately melted and flowed into Nie Shuangshuang's body. After feeding, Yemo didn't want to waste time here. He got on his flying sword and flew towards Chun'an like a comet. He knew that tonight, there would be a slaughterfest at Chun'an. When Yemo got back to Chun'an, it was already almost 10 p.m. He felt that he was about to grasp something but couldn't. It was Nie Shuangshuang's letter. There seemed to be some information he needed inside, but he couldn't find what it was. Yemo returned to his living place. The building was still quite dead. Other than the elderly on the 1st and 2nd floor, the 3rd floor and above was dead silent. Because he didn't see Luo Xian, Yemo wanted to find her. It was for that golden paper. Now, he had the latter half of the Nie Luo Sutra, but the former half wasn't found. But before he went to look for Luo Xian, Yemo still needed to go to the Hua family. Just then, when he walked to his place, he purposely slowed down but didn't see anyone come to stop him. According to Hong Xi's words, they should be ambushing him at Chun'an. How come there wasn't any? When Yemo came to the Hua family, he immediately understood why. Hua Kuming had left, and Hua Kei was nowhere to be seen. Yemo scanned his spirit sense in the library, and many of the books were carried away. Although he was quite annoyed by this old guy Hua Kuming, he wasn't angry to the extent that he was going to kill Hua Kuming's family. Plus, although Hua Kuming wanted to kill him, he didn't do anything yet. Regardless of whether or not he acted on a tip-off, since he didn't attack, Yemo wouldn't waste time to kill him. There wasn't too much feud between them. Hua Kuming wasn't here and he wasn't ambushed. Yemo immediately knew that news of him killing 4 Earth levels must have been leaked to the people who were going to ambush him. Yemo didn't care too much about these people running, but one of the He-Lu sect Elder Yu ran away, and he wasn't quite happy about that. After all, this man was on his must-kill list. As long as it was the He-Lu sect, he wanted to kill. But Yemo also knew that it was very hard for these people to not know the news. Yemo felt quite unsatisfied but could only let it go like that. He was prepared to meet Luo Xian later and then go to the He-Lu sect. He couldn't let the He-Lu sect people retreat. He must remove out the source of the trouble. Inghua Temple, although it was quite old and shattered, it had a long history. When Yemo came to the outskirts of the temple, he didn't find anyone with his spirit sense. He only smelled blood. He quickly walked in. There was no one inside the temple, but there was blood everywhere on the ground, and the range wasn't small. The blood seemed quite fresh, meaning there was killing here not long ago. Did something happen to Luo Xian? When Yemo thought about Luo Xian, the first thought actually wasn't that she had the golden paper he needed, but when she patted her chest and said she wasn't afraid of ghosts, when she hung the peachwood sword outside his room in the middle of the night. Then, he thought about if she had that golden paper on her. Yemo looked around carefully. Outside, there were messy footsteps. From the amount of footsteps, it seemed there weren't many people here, only about 4 to 5. Yemo confirmed again, it was 4. If one pair was Luo Xian's, then other than Luo Xian, 3 other people also came here. Yemo suddenly felt impetuous. If it wasn't for following Nie Shuangshuang, perhaps he would have came here when the incident hadn't occurred. Yemo circled around a few times outside and eventually saw the footprints of 2 people. It seemed that other than the 4, more people came. But they came and left quickly. Yemo was sure that other than those, there were no more marks. He looked back disappointedly. It seemed that he didn't have luck with that golden paper. Whether Luo Xian was dead or alive, it would depend on her fortune. Yemo went back to his place. The building was still dead and lifeless. Yemo walked in front of Luo Xian's door and subconsciously reached in with his spirit sense. It was empty indeed. Luo Xian wasn't back. Then, he went back to his place. Yemo closed the door and habitually scanned the room with his spirit sense. Luo Xian was curled up around his bed, shaking like a lamb. Luo Xian, what happened to you? Yemo walked over and asked Luo Xian in surprise. Luo Xian, who usually wasn't afraid of ghosts, saw Yemo now and could no longer hold in her cries. Yemo looked at Luo Xian and saw that she was injured but not very serious. And it was getting better. It seemed that she had eaten some pills. Stand up first and tell me what's wrong, Yemo asked again. Luo Xian sniffed for a moment and stood up and then said, I found the Ni Luo Sutra at Chunin Uni and waited for you till 8 p.m. You still hadn't come back, so I went to the Yinghua temple. When I arrived, there was only my second martial sister, Luo Fei, there. I talked with her for a while and she said she wanted to go see if big martial sister had returned, so she went out. Yemo took out a bottle of water from his ring and gave it to Luo Xian. Luo Xian didn't notice where Yemo took it out from and just took it over and drank the water. Then, she continued, after a while, my big martial sister came. I told her I found the Ni Luo Sutra and took out the 2 parts and showed her. She was very happy and excited. I asked her if she had seen second martial sister, and she said she hadn't. I thought that second martial sister just went out, how could she not see? Just when I wanted to go see, I heard this cry of pain outside. It seemed to be my second martial sister's. I rushed out quickly, but my big martial sister was faster than me. As soon as she heard the sound, she charged out. But she immediately came back inside the temple. There was blood all over her chest. In that short moment, she was ambushed. Speaking till here, Luo Xian cried again. Yemo frowned. He felt this thing was strange. If someone was really going to ambush Luo Xian, then wouldn't it be the perfect time to strike when her second martial sister had already left and her big martial sister hadn't come yet? Then I helped my big martial sister up. I wanted to help her stop the bleeding, but she couldn't hold on. She told me to go immediately. I said second martial sister wasn't back yet. Big martial sister just told me to go, immediately. I listened to her, but when I turned around to take away the Ni Luo Sutra I put on the side, I noticed that it was gone. Luo Xian kept sniffing. Yemo patted her shoulders and said, Don't worry, keep talking. Luo Xian truly felt helpless now. Usually it was her big martial sister deciding for her, but now, she felt very lost. Yemo's comfort calmed her a lot. She nodded and continued. I was shocked to see the Ni Luo Sutra disappear, and just when I wanted to turn around, someone hid behind me, palmed my back. I spat out blood and it spilled on big martial sister's face. She suddenly woke up and yelled, pulling me to charge out from the back of Yinghua temple. She was very fast, and I seemed to have heard a lot of noises from behind. Those people for some reason didn't keep chasing. Big Marshall's sister took me and ran a few miles before falling unconscious to the ground. I remembered that Lotus Life pill you gave me, and I gave it to my Big Marshall sister. Then I carried my Big Marshall sister and ran in a different direction. After 7 kilometers, when I couldn't run anymore, I put my Big Marshall sister down. Yemo nodded. Although from Luo Xian's description, her Big Marshall sister was heavily wounded, if she ate his Lotus Life pill, she should be fine. So he asked again, "Since you came back, where is your Big Marshall sister?" You're tuning into the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.